Ember Esports, we are back. It is our Cinder League Week 2. Atlantis going against GCCe Belmonts. It will be a regular man-to-man, mano-a-mano 1v1 match to see first picks and asides. It will be all random, ARAM as well too, as it should be. And either way, it is going to be very exciting as we get right along into it. It is your boy Huey. With me, it is the Colonel. And my man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing it pretty good. Definitely going to be interesting. Hoping that we can actually make our way into the 1v1. There's some issues last time with the spec delay causing us to miss the Mundo dodgeball to decide that first pick or side selection. But this time we have moved over. They have selected to play that 1v1 on the Howling Abyss, like you mentioned, or on one of our ARAN maps, I suppose, as we get the first glance at our matchup here. Again, the characters were picked randomly, and we get Kindred versus Mordekaiser. Definitely going to be an interesting matchup again for the players here. We do have the side of Teddy, that is the top laner for GCCe Belmonts, Plat 4 ranked, and on the other side it is going to be Shakes, the top laner for Forge Esports Atlantis, currently at Gold 3. So definitely an interesting character matchup, but this could give us a bit of insight into our top lane for the day.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. My issue is how is Shakes really going to handle the Kindred? And how is the Kindred really going to be handling the Mord? If you guys are just brand new to the 1v1 matchup, or you really haven't been challenged or done one, it is first to 100 CS, first blood or first tower. We will have a 10-minute time limit just to keep things on a pace, as we do see Shake starting to open up this game already.
And yeah, one thing I do think is important here is going to be that item selection. You see the Mordekaiser just goes for the plated steel caps, wants that armor, wants that resistance to all of those basic attacks, as well picking up 4 potions there just for some extra healing from any of that poke he may take early on. On the other side, Teddy going with this ARAM exclusive item here with that extra bonus, a lot of attack speed, bit of AD on it, so trying to make sure he can stay mobile while still getting that CS is, like you mentioned, 10-minute time limit or first to 100 CS, assuming we see no kill or tower. So definitely going to be interesting to see. And like you mentioned, both of these characters, a bit of an interesting matchup here. Obviously, if the Mordekaiser can get onto the Kindred, Kindred really has no chance of getting that fight win. But obviously, without ult, Mordekaiser really doesn't have a good way to force that fight other than an E, which should be dodgeable. But as well, you do see the summoners, both of them opting for Ignite, and while the Mordekaiser wants Flash, Teddy going in with Exhaust here to try and help keep a little bit of distance.
I think that's also going to help too. Also, we already know that level 6 ultimate is going to be coming in any second. That exhaust may be the game changer there. We're going to find out soon enough here, as we do see Teddy just kind of waiting, going to patiently wait for the minions to push in and then come and clear it and then try to get for the 6. Yeah, you didn't want to be caught out in the open there where where Shakes could just go unleash the ultimate and just drop all heck on top of his head there.
And yeah, we do see equal minions have died, with Kindred now getting a +1, but down almost a full wave worth of minions here. So definitely need to be a bit careful for the Kindred. Either be ready to try and burn that Mordekaiser health down over time until you can go for a true all-in, or just keep working on getting the CS. As Teddy actually
here we go.
In here, Mordekaiser ult available here as well. Going to try and hold Teddy in, but not going to pop it. And Shakes could just go down here, flashing away, indestructible. Not going to come out here. 1 HP on Shakes. Going to pop that W to heal, and almost going down there. It's a nice engage and a nice play by Teddy, but an inch away from getting it, as we'll see the Mordekaiser go for some relics to heal up.
Yeah, like we mentioned there, that exhaust is going to do wonders there, going to force that trade out out of Shakes there. The ultimate, which is the trump card there for Mordekaiser, is now off the board, so Teddy should be able to now apply the pressure, bring back this minion wave deficit that he's at, and be able to kind of turn the tables here.
And yeah, again, worth noting here, Kindred, the higher ranked player, and this is going to be our top lane matchup for the actual series once we get in. Again, only playing right now for side selection, so not necessarily going to be too big of an impact regardless of if you do or don't win this matchup, but obviously nice to get that little advantage, get that little ego boost going into the start of your matchup and your lanes, as again, these players are going to go at least 2 more matchups, obviously a little bit more standardization with the characters or the matchups that they're playing into, as opposed to something like that Kindred top lane, which we wouldn't really expect to see, but Shake's gonna take a bit more damage here, at least doesn't get that Kindred E popped against them.
No relics available either right now. So Teddy in a definite position here. Lamb's Respite still off online for the Kindred. So they will be able to get aggressive here. I don't know if the dive is really the exact call here, but I definitely do like this advantage that they have.
And yeah, we'll see it here. Teddy almost going to close that CS gap finally with a big wave crashing into Shake. So obviously the Mordekaiser still has a lot of ways in this series. Obviously a nice fight will be enough as well, but it was one of the things I was a bit concerned with the item choice for the Mordekaiser, as while they are going to be tankier, and if they didn't have these boots, they very likely would have died to that previous engagement. They really don't have that much damage. They're out of health potions now, so all you have is a Mordekaiser with no extra AP, right? You don't have any extra damage in your items, and you're just a bit tankier, so it really does feel like Shakes. He has a 10 CS lead right now with 4.5 minutes left on the clock. He needs to keep that CS advantage. If this Kindred gets any type of freeze against him, this could become a very dangerous game here for Shakes.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to aim for as well, too. As now Shakes just getting that pressure applied on them there by Ted. Just trying to keep him away from the wave there, too. They have to close the CS gap because it seems that it looks like it's going to be going to a CS battle here, which I don't necessarily mind. There are 3 ways to win a 1v1. It doesn't have to end with you killing the other one. If you have the CS advantage in the next 4 minutes, that's lead right there, and that's still a dub. And that shows you have control in lane as well, too.
And yeah, again, that wouldn't even surprise me. Maybe look at the HP there on that tower. Half HP for this Kindred. So, well, you have just over 3.5 minutes left. While Kindred is just about to catch up on CS, if they can keep these waves pressing, right? There's so much pressure here like this, that mounting dread. Mordekaiser just can't walk up for another 5 seconds here. They'll go back for the relics, but Kindred, even if the CS starts to become a problem again and Mordekaiser can reestablish himself in that domain, that tower, it's going to slowly bleed out every wave that crashes into his tower, so Shakes definitely has to be cognizant of a few things here.
Yeah, we're gonna be breaking down into the last 3 minutes of here. Nice grab there, gonna get a tower shot there onto Ted. Surprised we didn't see the ultimate used there.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely could have gone for it, even if he wanted to walk away. Again, you know that Kindred has the exhaust, but I would almost be open to just taking that trade, force that exhaust down, and get a chance to maybe try and get a E-flash or Q-flash or some type of aggro engage. As we'll see Shakes back on the defensive here, gets another pull into Teddy, gonna once again hold off on that ult. Flash ignite, ult comes in, and Shakes just sends it in. Ult gonna come out here, Lamb's Respite, will it keep Teddy alive? The damage is really low from the Kindred here. He's just gonna get taken down here, and Teddy plays it so well for the first 7 minutes, but Shakes pulls the trigger at the right time, and he'll pick up the side select.
That was a near surprise attack. Us watching, I was surprised and a little shook in there. So I just can definitely feel how Teddy feels. Either way, really good start there, and going to kind of set the pace, like you mentioned earlier. It's gonna feel good knowing that this is your rival that you're gonna be going up against in top lane against each other. Getting that one up, you gotta be feeling pretty nice. As now we're going to head into champ select and draft. With that was a excuse me, that was FE, that was Atlantis win there for their top laner. So with that, where do you think they're going to be headed to? Do you think the blue side do you think they're going to be taking the blue side win side, or are they going to feel red side for game 1?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see here. I feel personally you're looking at first pick or last pick here as again, we don't necessarily do that full first pick blue side every time, but I
Right.
definitely I'd be very scared to give away that last pick to the team that just that player wise top diffed in that 1v1. Again, it's Kindred Mordekaiser, right? We
Right.
know that Teddy's probably going to have some more characters that maybe they're a little bit more comfortable on than the Kindred, obviously not
Of
necessarily a
course.
commonly seen top laner, whereas Mordekaiser I don't necessarily know all the players, right? But that could just be something Shakes plays frequently, right? That could just be a character that he knows well, as opposed to that Kindred, again, not really being in that top lane. I'm pulling up Shakes' profile here, and I am actually seeing Mordekaiser as one of his more played characters this season. He has 15 games on it, his most played in the season, so definitely was probably pretty happy with that random role going into it. But again, we'll
What
have to wait and see.
RNG? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Really?
I pulled up
Oh
the
man.
OPGG that was linked with him, and his most played characters this season are Mordekaiser, Caitlyn, Teemo, Ornn, with Mordekaiser up top there. 15
He
games, has an
definitely should go
2.63
grab a lottery
KDA.
ticket. What are the
Yeah,
odds of that? What are the odds of that?
that's some pretty nice RNG as well.
Man.
170 characters in the game, so
Oh yeah.
definitely looking at maybe like 6/10 of a chance, I suppose. But regardless, we know that the teams are going to need a minute to make sure they can get those decisions made. So we're going to send things over to a break. We'll be back hopefully no more than 2-3 minutes here with our first draft of the day.
Be sure to keep it locked, guys.
Blinding lights, lost in your eyes, feeling the pressure. You and I, spending the night, chasing forever. For you, oh no, I'd be your one and only. Don't let me go, don't leave me lonely. Say you'll stay through the pain, say you won't go running. Let me in through your veins, get off on my loving.
Alrighty, we are back here getting ready for a draft. In our first game of the day, already got our picks underway, some of our bans as well. As we'll see the bands here, Kane, Smolder, Irelia, Mordekaiser, Jinx, and Seraphine going to be the bans by both sides. Forge Esports on this first pick blue side do go for the Xin on 1, and then GCCe Belmont's going to be looking at this Sivir as their first pick. So again, expecting the side of Forge to have selected that first pick, obviously not necessarily guaranteed, but going to be the first pick that they have regardless. As we'll see what GCCe want to go for, and it is going to be this Jarvan to hold on with that Sivir, as we'll wait and see exactly what it is going to be if it does get locked in for this jungle spot of them. Again, in terms of the teams playing today, both of them have, of course, already played a game in the season, not against each other, though both teams currently 1-0, with Forge Esports taking a 2-0 over the Jolly Rogers Calypso's Calamity, and GCCe Belmont a 2-0 over Rivals DX. So both teams currently 2-0, taking their week 1 series in a perfect sweep. As well, considering the actual players in these rosters here. For the side of GCCe Belmonts on the red side, they have a plat in the top and mid lanes, golds in the jungle and bot, and then a silver support. On the opposite side for Forge Esports, they're rocking 4 golds with a silver support here, so we'll have to wait and see if those few rank disparities in the solo lanes make up a big difference, or if it just ends up being a different color on the profile, as we get Yunara and Lulu picked up here by the side of Forge Esports Atlantis for that bot lane. And we'll finish off with the Belmonts as well, taking a Leona.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely liking where Belmonts are going. If the boy Sekio was here, he would keep it a buck. J4 just that jungler, but also looking onto the other side for Forge. Xin also a very good strong pick into the jungle, but slight flex. But I don't know if you've seen the evil ways of AP Xin in the mid or the top.
I have.
I don't know if it's very scary.
It's something.
It's very something. That's a really good way to put it. Either way, though, Xin is still a perfect pick into the jungle, but still slight flex. But I would, on the side of Belmonts, I would feel safe to say that's most likely going to be going into jungle. The Yunara Lulu, great pick there as well, too. But the Sivir Leona, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. This is still one of the greats. You got the great peel. You have Leona's in such a strong position right now. Can really take early game away. Level 2 all in. Can do a lot of things there for the Belmonts. As we see the last picks coming in, or the last bans. Mbessa, Irelia, going to be taken off there for Atlantis. As we see Akali and Ornn. A little more focused for the top. So it looks like Belmonts are taking that route that, yes, Xin is going to be the jungler. Let's try and focus on not into that. As you do see, the Yone going to be the last one for Forge Esports. Where do you feel these top lanes should be going for either Belmonts and for Forge?
Yeah, we see the Ahri coming out here for Belmont, so there's going to be a pretty strong magic force, obviously, for Forge. I think it'll be interesting to see what their mid lane does go to, but as for the blind picks here, I wouldn't just hate some standard bruiser, right? My brain obviously goes to something maybe like Renekton as the first thought, but I don't hate a blind Scion coming out here. Obviously, a very standard tank. They're probably going to look at a pretty high DPS mid lane to go with something like a Scion on 4 there, so we'll obviously see what they want, but at this point, alongside picking your matchup into Ahri for the side of Forge, I would just love to see something with a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, for sure. Aurora still available. Mel's still a great pick as well, too. Able to reflect that the charm and any damage coming in as well, too. Not going to be able to reflect a lot from the bot lane, but hey, whatever, you know. The burst damage from Mel and the execute is ridiculous as well, too. You have a lot of frontline and burst as well coming from the Yunara, the Xin. A deadly Q from Scion can really just devastate the entire side of the Belmonts. As we do see Cassante going to be the pick here into the Scion. I like it, but at the same time, I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that with something like the Leona Jarvan already in your comp, you don't need to go for something this tanky. You could maybe go for a little bit more of an aggressive matchup, try and get a nice advantage into that Scion. But with that said, right, I don't necessarily hate this Cassante too much
For
either.
sure.
You're still getting something that can become a threat, right? Cassante, go back to the Showmaker, 4,700 HP, 9,000
Right.
defense, whatever, all that shenanigans.
Right, right,
You can
right, right, right.
definitely do a lot of damage in those fights. Maybe would have liked something a little more aggressive to try and guarantee a lane win as opposed to just
Mhm.
going even. But again, I don't think it's a great pick, a super awesome, cool pick. But at the same time, it's not something I look at and go, I would not have done that. So I definitely think it's pretty middle of the road
For
here for the
sure.
West.
I think really what it is, I think they're looking for the all-in takeaway. You take away Yunar, you take away Xin, you take away
Yeah.
Mel from the fight. Honestly, you could even take away Sion. It's not the worst pick taking Sion. Obviously, you're looking for the 3 targets that I just mentioned. You
Yeah.
take those away, and that's a lot of the damage. And there's really not a lot of negate from that. Mel can't reflect that, you know.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really what they're going to be going for. And like you mentioned, he will be going even into the Scion, so he can match the split push. He can become a split push threat as well. Kasante can kill Scion. It's going to be a long and tedious fight, and you have to land every Q2, right? That's the passive. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to land every single one. And I feel like you have a window to kill. And it's got to be like between 1 and 5. Like, you know. So with that, where do you feel this is going this game one? I think
Yeah,
both
I
teams
think
did
this
really
is.
well on
Yeah,
draft.
I like the drafting here from both
Right.
of them. I think one of the things you mentioned, right, with this Cassante, one of the potential upsides later is alongside having the ability to realistically duel any of these characters, right? Like you mentioned, right, if
Hmm.
we kidnap the Mel, there's nothing they can block. They're just going to die or they're going to have to burn flashes or things like that. If we
Yeah.
do kidnap the Scion, there's really nothing to tank some of this engage, right? Leona
Exactly.
Jarvan is a
Exactly.
lot of pressure that
Exactly.
you can throw onto the
Exactly.
front
Yep.
line. And so if we do Cassante ult that Scion, take him out of the fight completely, or throw him over some wall, or maybe you can even get back to it, you're going to have your Leona and your Jarvan just sprinting at
Hmm.
that pretty
Hmm.
vulnerable backline, right? That Lulu obviously
For
has some
sure.
peels, and Zhao has some peel, but they don't have what you would see with Cassante, Leona, Jarvan. So I think that if this Scion gets kidnapped, that there's a lot of ways that Forge's comp can go bad in a
Hmm.
fight. But with that said, there's still a lot of damage, right? Yunar does a lot of damage, Mel does a lot of
Exactly.
damage. So I think that there's a lot of pick potential on a comp like that, especially given they have Xin Zhao for the chase, the isolation, the knockup. So I think there's a lot of ways that both of these comps can try and win. I would say in general, I think I prefer Belmont's comp a little bit more, but I wouldn't give it a very large amount extra.
Yeah, I think it's gonna really depend on laning phase and
Yes.
how these jungles handle the
Yeah.
early laning phase. If bot lane gets ahead, either bot lane gets ahead, they really can kind of start pushing for the mid, and from there, kind of ramp out of control, go crazy, and kind of not look back. I kind of like that for both teams. Also, a lot of pick potential, a lot of catch from both teams too. Again, that Scion, that decimating smash in a bush, man, it's decimating. Like, you are getting knocked up, and you're gonna have to
Yeah.
sit there, take the Inara damage. You're gonna take the Xin, you're gonna try to escape, and then you're gonna realize Mel's sitting right there too, and then that's it. You're popped. Like, starting a fight too is gonna be really difficult going into Atlantis too. The Lulu ult, the Lulu adding on that damage from Yunara as well too with picks. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a bloody matchup, and I am excited to see where it's going. If I had to go somewhere, I'm liking Belmont's a little more. I gotta say, just because I feel this is gonna be a very back and forth fight.
Yeah.
Belmont's is just a lot easier to pilot. Again, Cassante could take anybody off the map, and it's not that bad. Besides Lulu, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just
Yeah.
kind of being disrespectful if you just take the Lulu. Like,
You
come
know
on,
what?
bro.
He's still gonna win that 1v1,
No,
but
100%. Like, but come on, bro. Like, please don't take the Lulu, bro. Like,
yeah. I guess
you know,
we'll have to see which way Belmont end
for
up
sure.
going with that. We have a few minutes left in Spec Delay, so we'll send things over to a quick little break. We'll be back game 1 of our week 2 matchup here in just a few minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for our game one. Atlantis will be taking blue side, and Belmont on red. We have talked more than enough for the teams. It is now going to be up to them who decides who's going to be taking game one. Everyone tuned in and keeping it locked. Thank you all so much for being here for our Cinder League week 2. And Colonel, like we said, man, it's going to be a very bloody fight, and I think this is exactly how I like to see it already. The 3-man stack going in deep right now, looking for some vision, maybe some more.
And yeah, Buckbee here is going to find them on the Ari. We'll know that that ward is coming, gets the ping on it as well. So at the very least, able to get a bit of control there, at least know what they're facing, as they do have another trade back here on the bot side. That ward got spotted out, so that's 2 wards of this Forge Esports sides that have been spotted out. So this is a bit rough here, as Leona, wow, very aggressive early on the Yanara, and we just missed the Zenith Blade, so unfortunate.
Why are we starting Zenith Blade, though? That's my question.
Yep.
Why are we starting Zenith Blade?
It's a good question to have.
All right. Anywho, there, as we go and push forward, there, you just gotta kind of let those things go, man. You cannot let that control you all game. You are gonna miss spells. You're gonna things are gonna happen. So you gotta kind of clear your head there. The level 2 advantage is there, and the Zenith Blade's gonna just go a little wide yet again. Yunara is a very small character, you know. The balls are moving. There's a lot of things going on with that character. So no, it's definitely understandable there. As we do see the top side here, Ted just kind of starting to set the pace here. Like I said earlier, I think Ted has that early window there. Where if he really wants to bully the Scion, it has to be really early. Yeah. Which, I mean, it's fine. But you got to respect the Xin. And it's not like Scion's a very easy character to kill even at early levels, but this is what you want to be looking for. There goes the fissure there to knock him back. I'm now gonna go grab that vision just a bit and just try to hold pace here. Already having that little bit of a CS lead. Definitely got to be feeling a little bit after the 1v1, right?
Yeah, as again, I do think it will be interesting to see a couple of the things here in terms of rune choices. I just think it's worth keeping in mind. Obviously, both of our top laners going into the grasp going to be looking for a lot of those quick trades, which it's Cassante Scion, right? I don't think that there's anything really surprising. Then you have the double Conqueror in the jungle, double Lethal in the bot lane. Your tank support has Aftershock, Airy on the Enchanter, no surprise there. And then in the mid lane, Electrocute for the Ahri and Comet for the Mel. Again, by all means, what they should be running. Ahri's very combo-oriented. Mel, obviously, we just kind of press Q whenever we feel like it and do damage for fun.
Hey, like look at speaking of.
Like that.
Ooh,
oh, there's the Ahri combo.
That reflect was a little late.
Yeah.
Did you just see J4 there? Having both scuttles, by the way.
Yeah. The Xin just gets beaten on that bot side clear, going for a little bit of a slower 6 camp, and the Jarvan gets back. Do you see a potential play here? Yeah, he will get some damage on the Scion, but he'll just pop the shield to get out safely with the Soul Furnace.
So, speaking of Soul Furnace there, as they both have grass, you're going to be able to get that extra health there with Soul Furnace as well. You got to be careful, and you got to kind of respect that. That's why I say that window, it kind of closes,
for sure.
Then. He starts to scale, and he just gets so tanky. There we go. Zenith Blade gonna land there. Gonna get the Q. The Ignite gonna pop. Deadly. Gonna be able to survive, but now kind of in that scary position. Surprised we don't see Kagran go for the auto. I guess so. Was a little hesitant. Wasn't too sure where that J4 was. J4 was top, so he Xin was bot, so he could have been in the area. So I guess, but I don't know, that little bit of extra first tower poke, I don't know, man. I kind of greed for my plate, so let's see if it really matters there for them. As we head back to the top side there, Shake's not in the best position here, but he knows as a top laner, he knows he has to get this wave in.
Yeah, he's trying to kill these few casters.
He
Teddy
has
obviously
to. Uh-oh.
horribly
Here we
zoning
go.
it, and it could be lethal here if this Intofo. He
Nice.
just flashes for it as directed cam decides bot lane is more interesting. Shakes based on the tooltips there. We're gonna see him flash away from the third Intofo strike,
It's
I'm
fine.
assuming, as we'll see Beta Mana go back in
Here
here,
we go.
stun on the Yanara here. Deadly low though, just able to walk away. Lulu has the shield. They're still holding heal and barrier. Zin looking for the regank here on the other side. Gets the W onto Beta Mana. Stun comes out. We'll walk away here, and it ends up being pretty much nothing here, despite it looking like it could have been 2 fights.
Yeah, but you landed on Leona. I mean, that's exactly what was expected. Kagran, nice spell shield as well too, and the response was nice from bot lane, from Belmonts. It is a little unfortunate here though, that there wasn't a little more action from Belmonts. But we do see J4 in the curtains. Ari, I don't think is in the best position to roam. But there is going to be a quick time out as we get to check the map right now. J4 is coming for position. Mana isn't in the best to fight, but Crow also doesn't have a lot of mana. Gotta remember that on the Lulu. Deadly also 50, but has barrier and flash. I think Belmonts can do this. But Mel will come around. Ooh. This actually might be Atlantis fight, if they can do this right. If they advance on J4, right?
Yeah, I feel like the real problem here
Did they
is
know
Beta's...
J4 is there?
Yeah, they saw him walk around. He technically could have gone up to blue buff, but with Dragon up in your positioning, I think that you're definitely ready for it. But I think Leona's health bar is really the big problem. There's no way for Kogrin to get into this fight to a meaningful position without Beta having to be in front of them. So I think that this Leona health bar is going to be the big thing stopping Belmonts from trying to take this fight. But again, we are in IBSG, right? This is not the highest level of play in League of Legends
we go
history,
in, man.
so
we go in.
I definitely think there's a chance that we get maybe a miscalculation, but my assumption would be that there's probably maybe a little bit of conversing, trying to figure out if this is a good fight angle. In theory, you shouldn't be talking in a pause.
Really
maybe they aren't, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Not too sure what the pause is itself. We'll see if we can get an update on either the... Oh, okay. No update needed as they get back into the game here, and it will just be a retreat here from Atlantis. I feel like that's their dragon, but they decided to just go back to their lanes and go back to the farming. Well, we'll see what Jarvan wants to do in terms of his own positioning. Looks like he's willing to back away as well.
Actually, kind of crazy. I definitely saw the vision there. We're just gonna get that slight pause there. I definitely saw the vision there. I thought it was safe to assume that J4 would be there. Maybe even a ward rotate over. Nothing for the Drake. J4 is just gonna resume having position here. As now we see this might be it. The flash gonna come out of both Mana and Deadly.
Yeah, it'd have been nice to hit it, right? Maybe if we do just walk up, flash, hold the Q as a threat. Is actually Buckby in the area. Nobody can block this charm. As Deadly ends up in it. Charm comes back in here. We'll get the Zenith Blade on. First blood goes to Kogrin on that ADC matchup. So Yanara probably going to miss out on a minion wave here as well. So that is a really, really valuable kill here for the Belmonts.
For sure. Mel does get a lot of tower pressure there too. Ted able to, T able to get his minion wave advantage there as well too. It's about 200 right now, and this is what I wanted to see. It's now level 6, and Shake's still not in the best position in terms of health right now.
And yeah, one thing worth noting there is that Mel only able to get the first tower plate, which actually had already been gotten by Buckby on an earlier Mel recall, so not actually able to get any nice advantage there, just able to even out the mid lane gap, which of course is going to be regained in the fact that they did get the dragon. So I think definitely nicely done overall by the Belmonts. Obviously would be nice to not lost the play, as actually we'll get the junglers here. They're just going to keep hitting each other with their spears, as we'll see the Xin leading off the damage here. Golden Eclipse comes down. Now Buckby has to flash away from that Xin knockup, but they will both escape here for the Belmonts, and while maybe there didn't need to be a fight, it ends up just costing a little bit in the Ahri flash there to get out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a trade, but a hit. Listen, I'd rather trade flash than die for the positioning. And right now, it's even. Loops does have flash, but mana is kind of close to each other right now. I think Buckby can still get a good fight and win. Also, it could also go to loops. I think they're gonna get the reset here. I think Void's gonna be the first object or the next objective taken off the map. As we do see, it's not gonna be contested. As we do see Nuke going for it right now. Shake's going to go clear division. Since we do see T going to go for the reset.
And yeah, the grubs will get picked up in a clean sweep in favor of Forge Esports here, so at least able to get something back here. Still only down 1k gold, so not necessarily the biggest gap in all of existence. As we do see, for what it's worth, items starting to get worked on here. A lot of components starting to come out. Nothing too surprising, of course, worth noting, but just interesting to see where those first items will come out. Potentially Cassante going to be one of the closer people there with both the Sheen and that chain vest, so could potentially already be on the verge of completing that first item, but a couple of other people definitely with some nice components as well.
Yeah, the mid items are good, and having 1,000 gold lead for the side of Belmonts is just kind of showing this lane presence right now, and it is going to start to come to head this next Drake. So it is going to be really just what happens in this next 2 minutes. Until then, I do like the vision from Belmonts as well too, but overall right now, this top side is a very spooky situation to be if you're Shakes.
And yeah, I do think it's worth noting that 1.1k gold currently almost exclusively found in jungle and then those top sides. So obviously the first blood in the successive wave is actually, we'll see Coghren here has to try and flash away from the Xin. Leona get ult down as Coghren needs some help getting out here. Leona potentially sacking themselves here. We'll see if they can get the escape. My assumption would be no, as indeed Vita will go down. They get Coghren out at the very least so they can try and clear the wave with the actually just a teleport play. Buckby coming down here.
Oh,
this is the charm to get the
nice.
combo. It's now Mel teleporting not a very long distance to try and get here just a little bit quicker. Tactical Nuke could go down. Call Me Loops is here in time, but Tactical Nuke goes in, gets charmed anyways, so likely doesn't matter, but will be a second death in that fight. So that gold lead gonna jump up a nice bit, 1.5k, notably with jungle and mid now a little bit wealthier.
Really nice response from the Belmonts there. Atlantis seemed to have an answer, and the opening was great, but the closer there for Belmonts, you gotta feel pretty good on that. You take Leona, but you get 2.
Wow.
Also getting the flash there from Loops. Gotta be careful. Gotta watch the roam. You mentioned earlier in draft the front line between Leona and J4. It's very vicious there. As we saw Loops, they saw their life flash before their eyes. They instantly just knew if they got caught there, they are in trouble. As we now do see Tactical Nuke headed up. The Q gonna land the ultimate. Flash gonna come over from Ted. I don't think they have enough for their ultimate, and they are just going to have to take that one there. Nice rotation there from Nuke.
Yeah, maybe just staying a little bit too long here on the Cassante, and we are going to lose all of our lead from that. We were up a couple of CS before the play started. Now, not only are we even in CS, we're down gold with some of that extra bonus going over to Sion. He'll take the CS lead, and that wave is going to crash into Teddy, so he's going to be either forced to teleport immediately on spawn or miss out on another wave. As we'll see the call from him, going to hold on for a moment, and actually, it looks like they may be just moving to Dragon here. Maybe that top lane no longer the biggest concern for them, and instead they want to try and stack up some of those objectives. Not necessarily a call I hate. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if it works out.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to give Sion this time to just kind of passively farm. You've been putting so much pressure onto them right now. We get into this fight right now. The Solar Flare going to whiff just a bit, but Tactical Nuke going to fall victim to the Zenith Blade, but I don't think it's going to be enough to finally get the catch. As we see Loops putting down the pressure and gets a nice route there. Going to be able to get Nuke out of danger. But I don't know if they're going to be able to re-rotate back, as they are just about at 40% here on it to this Drake.
And yeah, we'll see if there is going to be a fight attempt from Atlantis. The bot lane has returned back down to their tower, so it doesn't look like this is a real attempt from them here. It looks like maybe they're just trying to stall pressure. Xin would have loved to steal it, but Not going to find that W, so will just be the dragon secured. Cassante immediately going to teleport top lane to try and save what's left of his tower, as Shakes is now up about 20 CS, and he got that tower down to only 2 plates remaining, so definitely nicely done by Shakes to punish a bit, but they will lose the dragon for it, and Cassante does at least get back to this next wave.
It is a fair trade, to say the least. If they won the trade, if they realized that they were going to be getting ganked there, it wouldn't have been necessarily needed. But you didn't lose the tower. You have still, actually, now that I think about it, it's about an 800 gold lead. Ooh. After such a hard-fought battle, now it's just flipped back over to the side of Shakes. It's a little concerning. It's a little concerning.
And yeah, I guess the benefit is that Cassante still should be able to take the 1v1, or at the very least, hold it close enough to where Sion isn't going to be in a rush to force 1v1 fights. Obviously, if we get into a point where we get ganks, obviously the 2v1 is just going to favor the numbers at that point, as we do see actually 4 players bot here. Leona going to miss the ult, as Jarvan going to get the flash from Crow, but they follow the damage and they're able to secure it. Jarvan ends up picking the kill up onto Crow's Lulu there. It's a nice engage by then. Obviously some rough skill shots at the start, but looking potentially at a dive here. We're walking toward Deadly, but we're just hitting the plate. Then we'll back away here. Kogrin is going to take a little bit of damage as mid lane. Buckby and Tyken pairing up once again here on Mel this time. And Call Me Luke should be dead. It's another kill for the Jarvan as Xin Zhao up top lane. Cassante going to ult through W Pathmaker, trying to find safety. Sion Q dodge with the E here. And we'll see if Teddy can get the power. Needs another W to try and get away. Q comes out, Sion knockup, Jarvan, or Xin Zhao rather, gets the kill. 0-2 now on this Cassante, and his tower gonna be gone here surely, and that'll go up now. 1,000 gold in favor of the Sion, but the team still down by about 1.5k, as we'll see that tower go down, drops down to about 700.
A lot of pressure from the side of the Belmonts there. And just unfortunate, you got to be careful on that top side there. Just because you are winning in lane, there's a lot of differences and a lot of factors that go in that can really change up the game immediately there. And no respect to that Xin. That's going to be an easy to pick up for Nuke there, just rotating on over, making sure Sion is nice and comfy. And now that 800 gold lead is now a 1,300 gold lead.
And yeah, we'll see it for the moment here again. I think that this Yanar is going to be one of the characters that I feel like they really need to get some gold here for Forge Esports. Oh, yeah. Either that or maybe the Mel could take over this game, but into 3 tanks, it really feels like you'd only be able to execute maybe the Sivir or the Ahri efficiently. So I definitely think that for this side of Forge Esports, a lot of this pressure should be going to trying to help a Deadly out. I think he needs to be moving to mid lane here, which does look like it will be the call for both teams. Just rotate that bot and mid to each other's position, because again, Deadly needs to be the person getting a lot of the gold. They need to be the person that you're trying to get these shutdowns on, as again, this is the guy who's going to carry you through the later portions of this game if you do end up winning it. So I definitely think trying to accelerate their items even just a bit would help a lot, as Beta Mana could be in a bit of danger here, but with the loss of vision and 2 players lurking, they will retreat here into that red jungle.
It was a I like the idea, but there really wasn't anything to execute, you know? We're rotating, but what was there really there to fight for? So I do like the awareness there at least. You are going to be able to apply that vision pressure there, kind of start looking for some picks, take out some of the fruits, maybe possibly some farm too. But we do see Nuke and the rest of the Atlantis squad rotating back behind him here, as now it might be a challenge here. Wow. Nice. Yeah, Nuke going to find the follow-up there. Yeah, the 2v1 going to go there. Nice pick here. This might be Atlantis' fight that they need. They find 2 there. Deadly now going to be able to take down the TPs all over the map there, as we do see Sivir going to be able to take the mid tower. So it is 2 for mid plus Rift Herald for the side of Atlantis. But I feel that mid tower there for the side of the Belmonts, that's just kind of a consolation prize, no?
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like that decision-making almost just a bit slow there by the side of the Belmonts in terms of exactly what they were trying to do. They end up getting caught in that river. Sion's able to move down. Teleport comes out from Buckby, but it's too slow. Ends up just having to run away. And again, it just feels like they didn't have the speed to decide and get the communication. What are we doing here? And to try and either get the turn, get the escape. So they get caught trying to escape, and then the people who are there to fight, you just have to run away. So nicely found by Forge. They are going to pretty much close up every lead in the game except for the dragon count, as we'll see a tactical nuke going in. This one should be just a bit too aggressive here. Teleport comes down from Cassante, and that very aggressive positioning by tactical nuke is going to make it a 3-0 drag lead almost assuredly, as we'll see Buckby chasing down Call Me Loops. He should have the solo kill. Indeed, he will find it before that golden eclipse can come down. I don't think it kills, but potentially could have. We all know how Mel is, but again, that's going to be the third dragon now for the side of the Belmonts, as again, just can't be there for Xin Zhao.
It seemed that Atlantis had an answer there, but I think they got a little overzealous, a little too excited there, and Xin just kind of pulled the trigger. There was no follow-up there, and then everything just kind of fell to pieces there without the Xin. I don't even think they went back to base yet with the money that they won with the previous fight. So you're still kind of where they are. Meanwhile, Belmonts did lose that previous fight, but they're able to base back, buy some items, come back. They're a little bit stronger than what they were in the previous fight. So you can kind of see it, and they kind of regained that lead, and they might have lost the battle, but right now they're winning the war.
And yeah, it's nicely held here. I mean, again, those dragons are always so impactful, especially in things like these IBSG games where the gold is going to be constantly swinging back and forth, but a team having just so much free healing throughout the course of a fight as another really aggro play here for Tactical Nuke with the Rift Herald. They are going to be able to get out with the Crescent Guard here as actually re-engaging. Nobody is with him right now. If we just turn on that Xin Zhao, he might just get blown up without that ultimate, but Yunara and Lulu will get here before any of those decisions happen from the side of the Belmonts. So again, still holding on here, just trying to get gold on the relevant carries. It's actually Deadly just blocking it on Cogrin. He's gonna get caught in the Cataclysm, shut down onto the Sivir, but Lulu still here trying to help out. Ult comes down, heal comes down, shields come down, doing everything we can to help Deadly. But again, the big problem here, these are tanky characters with that Jarvan Leona, Buckby on the side as well. Flash ult, QW, coming everything onto this Yunara, gets the kill, misses the charm, but we kill down this Yunara as top lane Shakes we get pulled into the Cassante's tower, and this Sion very tanky. He's not dead yet. It does pop that flash to get to safety, so nicely done there. Teddy able to trade his ult for that Sion flash.
Hey, we take those, as that was a back and forth fight there. Surprised that Thornmail, or at least not the Bramble Vest, not in the inventory of this Leona, just to kind of get some of that anti-heal, keep themselves going afloat there, because you can just kind of see the sustain kind of going a little crazy from the side of Crow. Yunara, very brave, Deadly, putting his name, that is not just a title there, a very deadly performance there as he just ripped through Kerrigan. You gotta kind of have to respect that Yunara, you gotta kind of respect that Deadly, especially with that Crow in pocket.
And yeah, he does get some shutdowns in that, obviously Sivir being the notable one, so it's not even necessarily that bad. He's up to almost his third completed item now with the BF sword done, as obviously still another 1,500 to 2,000 gonna need to be put into that, but obviously the BF sword gets you over the big difficulty in making what I'm gonna assume is just an Infinity Edge, but could obviously go into some different paths with the BF sword showing. So we'll have to wait and see here what that Yunara does want to do, as for the moment, worth noting that gold lead just completely disappeared. An invade here will make it just even a little bit more even, about 100 gold apart for these two teams. And again, I have to note the one thing that truly brings a little bit of difference here. Atlantis, they did get the 3 grubs, but at the moment, the Belmonts, they have 3 dragons.
Right. And it's unfortunate how Atlantis, they've brought this back, and it is pretty even. Oh, this might be a catchier T. I have to flash out of danger. as the two are rotating over. They are kind of trying to set their sights onto Baron. They only have about a minute 20, but that is going to be a pick from Buckby. Nice charm through the bush, but then going to get rooted. But the Cataclysm coming from Tycon is going to be more than enough. Buckby on a rampage right now. Deadly low on Crow. I don't know if Mana and Kerrigan really want this fight right now.
And yeah, again, here with the dragon up in about a minute. It's a nice kill on Call Me Loops, but obviously not going to be dead for that dragon. But we'll see the reset here from Call Me Loops here on this Mel. You can see some of the items starting to come in. Second item completed for just about everybody on the side of the Belmonts. Cassante still chasing a little bit of gold toward it. On this other side here for Atlantis, Scion is there, and your ADC is there, Yanara, but your jungle and your mid still both looking for that second item, and those should both be two characters who really are doing a decent deal of damage in the fights. Obviously, Xin Zhao a bit more on that bruisery side compared to something like that Mel, but it's really a dangerous spot right now as two of your main DPS characters, they just aren't there on those items. Mel just now gonna finish up her second as whoa! This is again another error or tactical nuke right before the second dragon in a row is just gonna get picked out here, and that's gonna be the soul over to the Belmonts. You have to recognize what happened last dragon and not make the same mistake, but he just goes down again, and surely it'll be the Ocean Soul to the Belmonts unless we get a Psycho 4v5.
Ooh,
but
Buckby
almost
again
gets picked in the mid lane. They have to Lulu ult him.
Man, Buckby is crazy, man. That guy is ridiculous right now. Beautiful picks. Gonna find a Xin not once but twice there. And I'm not gonna lie, heading back towards my red side, I would feel like I am safe, and this is where I should be going, but you don't have it warded, okay? And you can't just sit there and be like, oh, Crow needs to have that warded. It's everybody's job to be warding there. And you're not having your red side warded, not being able to track where all of Belmonts are at such a crucial point, you kind of just gave Ocean Soul to them on a plate. With this game being such back and forth, Soul is very, 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 very needed, you know? And just to kind of give it up right there with such a very back and forth fight, that's got to be rough. That cannot be sitting very well with Atlantis right now.
And yeah, we'll see for the moment what the call is going to be for them, as they really are backed into a rough spot now, right? You're down 1.5k in gold, but 4-0 drags. Not only are we talking about that soul buff, but obviously just the 4 dragons themselves compared to your nothing is worth stats, right? You're getting some extra regen, and you're getting some extra attack speed, or I think a little bit of extra maybe resistance.
Watch that healing from the tower.
And yeah, I mean, it's just so much healing here from this soul. Anytime you even do a little bit of poke damage, you're gonna heal such a nice amount of health here. As we'll see them backing away right now toward the top river. Obviously the thing of danger is that Baron Nashor. They only have the one Farsight on the Mel, so it's gonna be a bit difficult to check. His tactical nuke again, forced into early Crescent Guard into a backwards flash here, and again he's just looking for angles on the side here, but there's nothing to find, and he just ends up burning 2 of his key cooldowns.
Yeah, the vision is kind of choking them out right now. Loops, just kind of splitting down bot. Not the most optimal, but at least something is getting done right now. As we do see, the lead is kind of shrinking a bit, but let's see how much that's going to help them there. As Loops now gonna have to go on the retreat. Hopefully they'll be able to pick something up there, but with already at 3 items, not really too sure what that little bit's gonna do.
And yeah, we'll see a Bina Mana here now running back out of the spawn. And this again, it's worth noting this Leona definitely is still a big threat here, just in terms of tankiness. Is again, Atlantis, their damage just isn't where it needs to be at, right? Yanara starting to become a threat. 3rd item completed, like mentioned. Obviously, one of, if not the scariest single player in the game. But in terms of looking at the actual team fight structure here, the side of Atlantis is still just so much weaker. in terms of everything around the map, right? The gold at the very least isn't horribly off, right? You have 1k lead on Scion in favor or in trade for a 1k lead on the Jarvan and Ahri positionally, but you're definitely not in a great spot considering, again, those dragons are not helping you, and the longer the game goes, the more and more value those dragons are going to be. The one caveat of it is if you steal Elder, that's
I mean,
pretty
here's
cool.
the thing though. We've already taken 4 dragons, right? What are the odds we lose Elder?
I feel like the odds are Tactical Nuke looking at how the last 2 dragons have gone and then not dying. Because it's not like they're losing like big 5v5 team fights. They're losing their jungler before the dragon starts, and then they just can't play it from there because they don't have their Jarvan, who is one of their only 2 even slightly tanky team members. And while obviously, again, there are things going against them in the team fight because of those mistakes, at the very least, like mentioned, right, the gold is not some crazy 10k gold lead. So there's definitely still ways they can play it. You just have to be a little aware of that extra healing from the soul. But you would hope at the very least that the last 2 dragons now have been won by the same one play of Xin Zhao walking too aggressively forward. So you have to hope that something can change for the next one here for the side of Atlantis.
Let's see, as we do see the rotation pulling forward here. 900 gold lead right now. I feel like has been in the lead as Sled has been. I think 1500 has been the max, but has always been in the driver's seat for the side of the Belmonts. So that is something you gotta take. You gotta take what you can get there. But now I like this, and I think if they get an idea of where Xin is, which they do, yeah, now they can just kind of go crazy. Buckby should be able to escape there. Now we know where Xin is. We stop Nell. Guess what? We get to start Baron. Shake's gonna rotate over, alert the rest of the team, but it's gonna be a little bit of too little too late. Decimating Smash gonna come down for Shake as he does try to focus out Kagrin. Luke's gonna be able to find the execute there, as we do see Deadly gonna fall into the Cataclysm there. But now the only one in there is going to be Shake, as we do see Tyken going for the EQ, but has the Guardian Angel passive. Should be alright. Ted just trying to give him some space. EQ flag drag going on to Loops. He's gonna be able to find one. T to back over to all in to put Deadly in a weird position. Is gonna be able to find it. Now 3, all eyes on him as T tries to fight his way through. Buck B.
Wow.
Now here, this might be the cleanup. No way, somehow, some way, that's gonna be the ace. Look them in the face, but that's gonna be the Belmonts looking clean as they now head over to Baron and are now looking to end game.
And yeah, I mean, it really almost felt like the side of Atlantis played that fight better, right? To start, they were positioning great. Even when that Jarvan engage came through the Cataclysm, they had the flashes as reactions. They were ready for it. But again, they just don't have the damage. Deadly was trying to do God's work. They're doing so much damage, but they just aren't able to finish off a lot of these key kills. Tyken, through that Guardian Angel, was able to stay afterwards. He was between 0 and maybe 30% HP for a very, very long time, just slowly healing up from some of that lifesteal, from some of that fighting power, and the shields obviously helping, and they just can't kill him. The Cassante then comes through, starts working on the Yanara, and then the Ahri gets there and does a crazy chunk of damage as Tyken, right before the Elder, could potentially see a fall. It will just be Teddy jumping in front, but now we'll have to Lulu ult early here to try and save the Yanara. Cassante has no problem fighting it here. Shields coming up galore. Shakes teleports in. Beta now going to drop the Leona ult, trying to chase them in, as we'll see now on the side. Tactical Nuke getting chased out here, as we do have everybody back alive. Jarvan, off of that recall, was able to stay on his feet, get back, get a quick buy going into that death stance next, as wow, Yanara is dead, and now this team fight feels very difficult. Golden Eclipse comes in though. Leona dies. Cogrin's low. Teddy trying to hold on. Buffy backing up as well, as Tyken freshly here just dropped the Cataclysm, and he's able to get a nice chunk of damage here. Cassante flips too. There goes Vel. There goes Xin Zhao. Shakes is now 1v3 with, I suppose, a floating Lulu to try and throw some occasional shields, but Buckby and Tyken abandon the Scion. They take down the Lulu, and now it really is Shakes in a 1v3 here. He's tanky, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to help him in this instance. He doesn't even have ult, so just going to try and run away, but there's so many knockups and so much drag here that there should be no escape, just a question of when he dies.
Yeah, no, it's a little unfortunate there. All that health, but nothing to do with it. It's going to be another ace there. the passive. Gonna just kind of be a little just kind of annoying here, as now the 5th break unanswered going to go to the side of the Belmonts. Excuse me, as we do head over. It's gonna be just about wraps here. The biggest gold lead now is going to be headed over to about the 8K.
Yeah.
Now with this Elder passive, it's just going to be a few moments here as they start knocking on to this base. Maybe Deadly can get a little something crazy, but with Soul and Elder, it's just a little unfortunate. It was such a very back and forth game 1. But right now we're just looking at the last few moments here, unless somehow, some way Belmont somehow throw this, but there's like, sure,
yeah,
right? Like,
it's like
surely,
even the
like,
one position that they're probably destined, they're still down 500 gold,
sure.
which obviously is not a lot, but that's your best player. You're down 9k gold in the game, and your best player is still down gold on their laning opponent Sivir, who still a very capable carry here. Just doesn't need to be the carry when you have so much pressure in some of these other characters. You have triple
landed.
caught in the Cataclysm.
Yes.
Buckby goes for 1, Buckby goes for 2, Tycon taking up a lot of the damage as Sivir finds their first. Sion backing away, Cassante gonna pull him through, Shake's gonna go down, Cassante finds that one. Tactical nuke, the last player alive, unlike in some of our dragon fights, but we're just hitting the towers here at this point. Gonna kill that Sion clone, or that Sion zombie, and now Crescent Guard comes out. We'll flash back into our fountain, and I think we'll just save the KDA here. No reason dying out, and that'll be the game.
Right.
Just about 33.5 minutes. Game 1 goes to the Belmonts.
Perfect game for Buckby, by the way. 8-0
Yeah.
and 11. Also, Tyken doing
Only dying now.
doing so much work there as well too. 9-1 and 13, 17-1 and 24 between the two of them combined. The rest of the Belmonts picking up a lot of slack and putting in a lot of work as well too, as we do see Cassante 4-3 and 8. Excuse me. And then bot lane keeping it up, keeping that pace going. 2-7 and 1-3-11. Leona in a lot of crazy fights as well too. A strong fight towards the end. Just a little unfortunate there, man. Dragons matter. Dragons objectives matter, and that's really where Atlantis kind of fell. So hopefully they can kind of get to the drawing board, kind of get themselves going, and really it'll be even that much of a closer fight going to game 2.
And yeah, it's definitely a little bit rough there. Again, I still think the draft was still pretty playable from that side, but there were just a few too many problems. And then again, you just slowly get pushed further and further behind. But Buckby, definitely a big problem in that game for them on the Ahri. At the very least, won't be seeing it again here. We'll see what they want to do in terms of drafting for game 2. But before we can get that, the teams are going to take a quick moment, take a few minutes, get a drink, use the restroom, talk draft strategy to get ready for the second game. We'll do the same here, sending things back over to a break. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 of week 2 in Ember Cinder, back in a few minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. How is everyone doing? Week 2, going with a fantastic start here for Cinder League, with Belmonts taking game 1 versus Atlantis right now. They are going to swap sides. Let's see how much that's going to matter. But I think it's safe to say, I think we know what's really going to matter. And what's really going to matter is how well this Atlantis team can pick up some more dragons, get these objectives up, and get themselves a little more control of the map. Because the landing phase wasn't bad, the rotations wasn't bad, the team fights weren't bad, the execution, the calls weren't bad, but man, the dragons were just empty. 0. 5 for 0 is crazy.
Yeah, I definitely think, full respect, it really does come down to that bottom side objective div, right? Obviously,
For sure.
Tactical Nuke had some positioning errors, right, on that third, that fourth dragon to get the 2 oceans for the soul. You just can't be dying in the ways that we're dying there, right? Our team's not ready with us.
Yep.
We're not letting Sion go ahead of us, who really should be the person taking all of that front damage and potentially risking themselves to getting blown up by something like an Ari charm, right? Because Sion can tank that. He can live throughout that. Maybe doesn't love it, right? But you're going to die if it hits you. So we need to be staying alive as we get on into draft alongside all of our Game 1 played characters. Mordekaiser, Emilio, Jinx, Kayn, Smolder, Irelia on the ban table. The Belmonts first pick Seraphine. And then to take away that strong matchup, Atlantis steal away the Ashe on R1.
I think that's a good pick there on Atlantis. Take away that that Ashe pick with the Seraphine. It's very dangerous. Going to match it with the Sona. All right, I guess. As you already know what the support's gonna be, but it's like, I don't know. I think Seraphine is a little bit better than Sona. Sona does have the better just overall healing. But we'll see how it all goes down, as we are gonna see where Belmont's going to take this round 1, but I think it's safe to say they are going to go for the bot lane. They are, and it is going to be the Caitlyn, just going to try to take advantage there in terms of range, longer attack range, and just looking for those headshot procs. Very safe, you know. Also looking for that downbeat. Once that Seraphine lands the E, they don't get the slow enhance like they would with Ashe, but they can also get their own passive, get the E going, add the cupcake trap to that, and that's a wrap there. That's a lot of damage on the either Ashe and Sona. Also, that 6, very deadly, and Belmont's going to round it out with the Wukong. I kind of like where they're going. Not a lot of frontline, but a whole lot of CC and damage, and I can definitely get behind that, as we do see Atlantis going to lock in on their top side. Going to get that Ambessa. Also, not a lot of frontline, but they have their CC, they have their damage. I kind of like how they're coming out of the gate here.
And yeah, it's definitely interesting to see these picks, right? Obviously, Sona had a little bit of hesitation there on in terms of the reactions with it, because it is a bit abnormal, right? I personally am I'm a Sona believer, I'm a Sona truther, so I definitely, I don't hate to see the character. Do I love to see it with Ashe into Seraphine? Maybe not as much. And I do think the Caitlyn is a pretty good pick, because like you mentioned, right? You just have range, right? Sona, truthfully, has more range than I think most people give it credit, but it's not Caitlyn range. That's true. So I think that Caitlyn is going to have a lot of fun in this lane, because you really get to click on anyone whenever you want, and as long as there's a minion between you and Sona doesn't have ult, you really aren't in danger of anything other than a jungle gank, so, or maybe like an Ashe ult later on. So we'll have to wait and see how that bot lane goes. Wukong and Besha, right? They can both go top, they can both go jungle. Just some strong flex bruisers. I think this is something that both teams wanted, right? I don't think this is a big surprise after seeing Jarvan's and Zhao. And then in terms of bans, we get Renekton, Yone, Akali, and one more pending.
I like these picks. Again, I didn't on both sides, I don't think the draft was the issue. It was just that objective control, man. It was really that objective control. I liked how both teams piloted both teams. Everyone was pretty well executed. Honestly though, if I really have to really super nitpick, mana, we gotta talk, man. Those Zenith Blades, woohoo! Oh man, you're hurting me. Man, I got you. Hey, I got you. That's like the only character I'm really good at is Leona.
And
but I mean, honestly, other than that, you didn't die, and they were able to find support, be able to find assist, and they kept themselves in pace. But it could have been a faster and a better executed team fight overall. With some of those secured Zenith blades, some better position. Oh, see, now he's gonna go Thresh, and hopefully, it's a better showing. Because I'm gonna say Thresh's hook is a lot harder than Zenith.
And yeah, I do think one of the other important things to note here is in the world of tactical nuke, it was something I definitely think is worth noting. Xin Zhao is not his most played character of all time, right? He has maybe 2 games a week for the past month or so, so it's
For
not
sure.
necessarily a character they know super well. And actually, some of that is in arena as well, so not necessarily even into the normal world. But on the other hand, looking at tactical nuke, I was gonna say out of the characters he has, I want to see Lilia or Gragas. Those are his 2 most comfortable characters.
Interesting.
They have good win rates, they have good KDAs in his solo queue games. And again, solo queue is not a perfect representation of what you're going to find in 5v5 organized, but it's a character he knows. And the Xin Zhao, while it is something that he does play, he like obviously is not first timing it in that game 1. This is his most comfortable character in terms of games on that Lilia in recent times. So I definitely like seeing a comfort pick for somebody who had a rougher game 1. Narn, another interesting pick here into what may be Ambessa, what may not be Ambessa, obviously expected to be with that Lilia pickup, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what the side of Atlantis want on their last pick, and they do just go for the Aurora.
Oh yeah, just I like this out of the gate. Just big boom damage. See you later. The only downside is there's really not a lot of frontline here. You're really reliant on your damage. If this goes any way wrong for Atlantis, you don't really have anything to fall back on, which I kind of understand. You're a game down right now, so I kind of like this do or die, but it is a very do or die, and it's a very strong out of the gate, but it can very shut down very, very quickly.
And yeah, I do think it's worth noting, in terms of the Belmonts comp here, their only real carry is going to be this Caitlyn. Obviously, Gnar, Wukong, both Breezers, both do damage. Seraphine, which is going to be mid, likely going into a more AP variant, still obviously has a lot of that pressure, but I do like that flex. I think that's one of the other things worth noting, that Seraphine obviously will be moving to the mid. I think this is a very good swap. Obviously, it can play in the bot lane, but I really do like this Caitlyn Thresh, because you want to be winning lane, right? You want this Caitlyn getting kills, and I think that a good Thresh hook is going to be a good way to kill an Ashe or a Sona. So I'd like to swap into the more aggressive tempo, because Ashe and Sona, they really can't flex, whereas Seraphine, not necessarily as common in mid, but right, I mean, it was designed to be a mid laner, so it's obviously definitely still going to be playable there. But what do you think about the drafts here?
It's Aurora.
Yeah.
Aurora's evil. Aurora is just the bunny. The bunny girl is not fun. Like, very uninteractive. You know. That electrocute stealth walk burst. It's gonna hurt Seraphine a lot. They're not gonna be able to play the game for a bit, but like you mentioned, it's gonna be on Thresh to land those hooks. I'm a little hesitant there.
Yeah.
Mana wasn't really picking up all the hooks there. Again, Thresh's death sentence is that's a different, out of all the hooks, I feel that's the most difficult one there. It has the wind up and then it goes. You know, Nautilus is pretty quick. Blitz is probably the fastest out of everybody. You know, but there is more than just the hook. You have the flay, you have the box as well too. You also have the lantern. Let's see. Maybe they were warming up on the Leona. But I like where the Belmonts are right now. I like Atlantis draft as well too. And as long as they can pick up through the lane, they get this jungle issue solved, they should be able to run away with this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they will be able to get on it. We'll have to wait and see if we will see any of those same errors from game 1 favoring the Belmonts, or maybe Atlantis will be able to strike back and send us to our 3rd game. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to send things back over to a break. Game 2 and what may be our final game of the day back up here should be no more than 4 or 5 minutes. See you all then.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Game 2 on the way. Cinder League Week 2. If you guys are just tuning in, Atlantis is down 1. The Belmonts needed to try to close this one out. They don't want to take these guys to a game 3. And if anyone can close this Team Atlantis 2-0, it can and might possibly be the one and only Belmonts. Let's see if they can do it. As we get this beautiful POV shot, as we might get a little bit of action already into the first few seconds of the game, but it is just going to be a quick trade, and I'll call it a day.
And yeah, we do have some vision getting spotted, some vision getting placed, obviously. Nothing too big of a deal anywhere. Maybe a 5 gold lead here or there for the Lilia or the Thresh,
Right.
but that'll all stop being negligible before it happened, because 5 gold just does not mean anything on a ward ping. Nice to have, builds up over time, but obviously, again, just some nice early poke here as Beta Mana gonna take a big chunk here. Again, worth noting, obviously, full respect to both players. The 2 supports here are the 2 silvers in the lobby. They've both climbed since the start of the season. They're higher than their listed rank. They're both, I believe, silver 1 at the moment. So some nice upward movement here as they improve throughout the course of the league, but they are still the 2 silver players in this matchup. So definitely worth keeping an eye on here, the side of Beta and Crow. Obviously, some rough skill shots have happened in the past in terms of hooks, but some obviously still working on some things, and they have still had some decent games overall. I think the Lulu, especially game 1, had a decent game. It just didn't end up meaning too much.
Level 2 advantage going to not matter too much there in the bot lane. Not going to be able to find the flay or the hook there, but I mean, you still got advantage. It's, you know, but that, again, that window kind of closes out here and there. You want to kind of get that early, as soon as possible going, before Sona starts getting those health items in. Hopefully we see that, we see the Thornmail, or at least if not the Thornmail, oh man, I just said it last game there for the anti-heal, but at least get a little anti-heal, especially with this Sona, who is a heal machine.
Yeah, definitely. It will be needed to get some anti-heal. Really, almost for both teams, right? Because you're gonna have some
for sure
lifesteal on those bruisers, but then you also still have Seraphine, and even though it's AP, right, that's still a Seraphine. That's still gonna be a heal.
Right. Yeah, but Oblivion Orb, way much better anti-heal item than Bramble Vest. I think that's the only one. That's the only one really the Belmonts can pick up. So let's see how it goes, as we do see Tycon here for the early gank. I don't think they see him.
He just wants the crab. Okay.
He's gonna just go for the crab here. We do see Nuke gonna approach as well too. Loops also here. Nice rotation here. Tycon gonna have to give it up there. The execute gonna have to go down, as Tycon might be first blood here from Atlantis. Oh, Lantern though from downtown. Mana gonna be able to get his man out of danger. But that scuttle is definitely lost.
And yeah, Lilia definitely needs to make sure to get this double crab here, or that Wukong doesn't really lose much. Obviously, you lose the flash, but if we can't actually force a meaningful negative impact here, doesn't mean too much here. We do see the Wukong just now getting out of their base, whereas the Lilia already in that top river, so it should be secured unless Buckby wants to stay super aggressive here, but we'll see what ends up happening here, because we certainly can move on this Lilia Nart in the Mega right now, as Wukong trying to get in the area. We have
it's going to be the slow.
Lilia, as we'll see the Lilia pick it up. The question is, can they catch them? The E comes down, the Embess is here as well, so nicely done. Tactical Nuke gets that double scuttle and gets out. So again, just keeping the pressure on, punishing Wukong for that aggressive move toward the scuttle, as Beta Mana just flashes in, Flay comes down, and we're staying glued to the Ashe, away from the hook. We forced the flash, maybe could have predicted it, but especially in IBSG, I don't hate just throwing it at the body and punishing them for not flashing. Just make them burn the cooldown.
100%, but I mean, like, you are in their face, flashes up. It's an ADC. They are going to flash away. You know, but I digress. Even wait for the flash. You know, like you're what? I like the approach. Flash for flash is fine. It just could have meant so much more, especially how close this game one was. Small opportunities like that don't come necessarily a
Oh.
lot. Oof. Nice dodge there from T, though.
And yeah, he's still actually going to get traded into pretty hard here by Shakes, but again, he's going to live, so not the biggest punish of all time, I suppose. Just loses a bit of HP, still able to pick up the cannon and work on this wave. As Mega almost back up here for the side of the Gnar, able to jump away from that next Ambessa trade, has the wave crashing under him, so definitely going to be fine here for the Gnar. I don't think we can force this kill for the Ambessa. I think they just want the plate here, as Teddy does have that Mega, but I don't think, yeah, he's not quick enough to get the pull back into tower or the nearby right wall, so we'll just be the retreat for Ambessa for the moment. Still has that HP advantage, so no need to back right now. Teleport available for both top laners, so definitely just going to stay on this stable game with Wukong on the bot side and Lilia in base. Gnar just pops the ult, no reason not to, as we will have that HP advantage finally back for the Gnar, but again, shouldn't really mean too much.
No, not a bad trade either. Gotta kind of respect both sides here, as we do see Deadly Crow pushing forward here. Mana clearing the vision for his jungler. I'm not seeing as much hook action as what I like to see in an Ashe Sona. It should be a lot more bullying going on there, as you see Mana going for the hook, but again, it's not landing there, and you can agree there how beneficial a hook landing there really is to a hook being missed, especially into this Caitlyn Thresh, where I feel like they should be dominating right now, as we do see the Hextech Flash coming through.
It's just not going to end up being for much here, as we do see them pushing the wave in, but like you mentioned, right, aside from the CS, it really doesn't feel like they've actually been forcing the pressure you would want to see, right? They have some good ideas, right? B does earlier flash, able to force out the Ashe flash, but you need to punish that cooldown, right? You trade your flash for the Ashe flash, now you need to punish it. You brought
5 minutes
for a reason, and they're looking for the plays, right? You called it out on that last section there. They're looking for the plays with those Hex flashes, but they haven't found anything, and obviously the setup is only as good as the follow-up, so
yeah,
you can't actually get any kills off of this. That previous good play won't be converted into much, but I really feel like we could position a little bit more aggro. Maybe we're just super concerned about the missing Lilia right now, but like Hogren, he's really far behind these waves as he clears them, so Deadly and Crow are still just getting a lot of the CS here in the middle of these lanes.
And now just kind of throw in the hooks there. You gotta time them, man. You can't just throw them all willy-nilly there. You gotta know, especially with Thresh, you gotta know where it is. I think this is a bait lantern here just to try and relieve the pressure here. Gets the hook. Goes for the flay there, but there's not gonna be a lot of follow-up there. Kagrin probably not too concerned of landing it there. And now Aurora going to be their first blood. He's going to go to the side of Atlantis after the first hook landed. I think that's a little ironic.
Yeah, we just drop the box there and try and walk away, but not going to be enough. At the very least, Seraphine does get a pair of plates here in the mid lane, so a little bit of gold back, but that dragon is going to go over to Atlantis, and again, that was something they couldn't do all of last game. They got 0 drags all game, despite 5 going down, so being able to get a kill, get that first blood, and secure the first dragon is a very nice turnaround for, again, the game 1 came down to, right, we talked about it in that post game, it was very back and forth. Either team could have won it, and the team that got 5 dragons in a row ended up taking it, right? I feel like that's pretty standard. So now that Atlantis have a small lead, they have that dragon, whether we see the same dominance in the other way of game 1 in terms of those objectives, or if we just get a normal back and forth game, it's definitely a lot better setup than giving the other team an uncontested soul.
Yeah, that gives you an extra 5 minutes there, just in case things go south right now. But it seems Atlantis really starting to get a better idea into the second game. I think we saw the Lilia ult go down in the mid lane, but I don't think they're going to get too much follow-up for it after. They may force Buckby back, but has teleport available. And
yeah, one other thing worth noting goes back to the first time we came on stream. And that's his top lane. Teddy and Shakes here playing an extremely even lane right now. Dead even on the CS, 50 gold apart here. And this has just been really, really clean work by both of them here to try and keep this lane stable, right? I mean, obviously, both of them would be happy to win, but the bigger problem is making sure that you don't lose your lane, so... Definitely some nice stability work here as we see Tyken looking for an aggressive play toward the bot lane. In trade, though, Lilia ripping apart this Wukong's blue side, and I don't think he knows it's happening. He could just go trade that Romp, go trade those wolves, but instead, I think he does finally realize something might be happening as he moves into that jungle, but no, he just checks the blue buff and is going to back away here. So Lilia, a couple of free camps there.
Yep. He's got to be a little careful there. It is all right. It's only 4 CS difference right now into the late game. It's only a little bit of extra gold, but a couple of those can really spell, not death, but definitely can spell some trouble for him if he's not too careful. As you don't, I think now he's lost track of where Lilia is. As we do see the box gonna go down, the flash flay. Don't know if it's going to really be enough there. As Mana looking for a little something, just. I don't think those hooks really are it there, Chief.
Yeah, they had already won the play, right? In my eyes, they got a nice hook. They got the Ash Flash for basically nothing, just a bit of mana. And then we go for a really aggro play with that Flash Flay, and it just ends up not getting anything. And now we see the same problem we saw, I suppose, around 5 minutes ago, where we had a nice play for the flash, but then we just couldn't punish it. This time we had the flash advantage on our Thresh, but we burned it extremely early for a pretty flat play, so definitely a bit unfortunate there. Again, they get the flash for flash, which is probably still just a net positive, but now they're back on the same problem of we have 5 minutes to actually make it matter, and in the past it didn't work. Arrow comes out and Thresh, I think he's just dead here. I don't know that we can actually do anything about this. The slows are too severe. Hook onto Sona. We end up taking the Q2. Not going to matter. And it's a kill for Deadly Lull here. Second of the game, both on this Thresh here, as Vida on to a rough game here. We'll get the sleep onto Seraphine. I'm not too sure. We could have maybe staggered it with the ult, but instead Buckby just decides, you know what, I'll take the damage, hold on here. Tactical nuke going back in. Could have the kill here. Q comes out. Not going to have that next spell cooldown, it looks like, though. I don't think the burn will kill that Seraphine. Gets very low, but I do think he will end up surviving there for Buckby on shreds of HP. So nice survival at the very least. Lilia E looking for the Seraphine. Looks on the minimap like he was able to dodge it there. So nicely done there to stay alive as Thresh will try and come hold this tower down for a bit.
Got to give it to them. Definitely went back to the drawing board. 2-0 right now. A slow start, but a start nonetheless. The gold is still even right now for the side of Atlantis, but as long as they can keep this pace going, they definitely can lead and find their way into a game 3.
And yeah, we'll see it for the moment. A few leads finally starting to form in a couple of spots, right? Obviously, the one of note right now is 750 in the bot lane as a Thresh hook hits. We're going to have a trap set up. It does land onto the Sona, but we don't actually combo. We're too scared of Deadly there. Pop the cleanse back flashes. We'll see in the mid lane here, Buckby trying to work on Call Me Loops. Obviously has the nice HP advantage off that reset. Would have liked, again, that trade there, Cogrin. I think you have time for the headshot onto Sona to really press that HP downwards, but ends up panicking or just deciding the retreat is the safest immediate option. So goes for that. Again, it doesn't really matter, right? Obviously, it sucks to use the Caitlyn summoners, but as we've seen, potentially not going to be forced into some type of punishment for losing those summoners, which, again, it comes down to the correct play is to work on this Caitlyn. Now you have a timer where they have no real sums to work with. Thresh doesn't have the flash right now to try and help them either, so there are a lot of ways that you can punish them right now, and maybe even just taking this dragon is the easiest one of them, which does seem to be the call, as Teddy going to go for a play top side, stun, Q, get some nice damage there. Again, it's what you expect on Gnar, right? It's a nice combo to do some damage with some stuns, some shakes under half HP here, just throws up the emotes.
It's just kind of funny. And again, it just this game has just been very ironic. The Ambessa mad that they got bursted out, and it's like, that is exactly what you're built to do. Like, you know, like he just did it a little better, you know. But you know, it is very difficult there. That was really nice positioning there from Teed to get that damage onto Gnar. but I gotta give it to Atlantis here. We mentioned that the only real issue here on the team fight and in this entire team, we couldn't stress it enough, was the Drake control. Now in the control of the Drakes, this game has been pretty even so far. But finding angles to get themselves into the lead, I'm really kind of liking how Atlantis has come back in this game too.
And yeah, I do think one of the other things worth keeping in mind was one of the sore thumbs from the side of Atlantis in Game 1, and that's Tactical Nuke. And while he is 0-0 right now, he is up, or I suppose realistically just even on farm with the Wukong. Well, I've been pretty impressed with his play so far. He's been forcing some nice, forcing summoners, forcing some nice advantageous positions. With the team, he was able to work to get that double crab, and he's kept a nice small lead on Wukong throughout the majority of the game. So obviously, what actually matters is how we'll continue through this mid game, but I think that Tactical Nuke is inspiring a lot more confidence for me as a double Sona ult connects in. Tactical Nuke goes in, double Drowsy, Seraphine gonna come out with the encore here. Nice Wukong for the stagger. Tactical Nuke backing away. Sona finds the kill. Tyke gonna try and chase forward here. Will be Kagrin taking the kill on Deadly Low. Now it's gonna be the Ambessa into the back line. Teddy now 1v in the 2v3 with Buckby here, but we need to try and help peel for this Seraphine. It's obviously still not the strongest mid lane mage of all time. Root comes out now onto the side of Shakes, who's gonna immediately turn onto the Seraphine. Shakes gets the kill, and Teddy has to back away now. 5 kills to 2. The gold actually still favors the side of GCCe. They get that full turret on Caitlyn, and I think that's going to be the big problem with that play, right? You get some kills, you get the Herald, that's all good and well, and I think it's still probably a net positive play if you look at the actual gold value gained. The problem is that while they spread the gold along their team, the Belmonts force it exclusively onto Caitlyn, up 2k gold now.
Yeah, that was a crazy flip. That was such a sneaky play, and things like this kind of throws off people when they're watching League. We get to see things like this. As a player, you have to realize things like this right now. If Atlantis are caught in an unawares right now, they got to be feeling comfortable right now. Even if you're doing the gold in your head, you're like, we're pretty even right now. But you just saw what Caitlyn got. You gotta see what they also have in their inventory. That's the pickaxe, that's the BF, and I cannot think of the new item in off the top of my head, but also has the passive, which is really what people are going for on it. You gotta watch for it, and this might be the game changer. Yeah, the hex optics. Yeah. You gotta. This is what you gotta be looking out for right here. Let's see if this is gonna be the game flip.
Yeah, we'll actually see the Herald come down. We'll focus on the fight first. We do get into the Herald. I don't think that this is needed considering we're against Caitlyn. Does get rooted, at least able to take that pull through. We do see the Encore come through. Sona ult comes down. Look at Tyken, though, coming around on the Wukong here. Does have that ult up in 2 seconds here, but it will be the escape here. They get that trade, but on the other side, Ambessa just solo killed Gnar, so definitely a nice little random bonus there. Not too sure what happened in that fight. I don't see the Gnar skull. It looks like maybe under the tower, so I think Ambessa just solo dived the Gnar, as we will have the hook coming back out here. Tactical Nuke in a bit of danger here, trying to play a little bit too aggressively again here. I think he needs to be cautious, and maybe if somebody on the team is noticing it, need to try and help rein him in. He's been playing well, but some of the times, especially getting back into the antics of last game, just trying to play a little bit too quickly.
I think so. You gotta kind of playing the hero bit and not really playing for the team there, which is completely and totally fine if you're able to secure and execute these 3v1s right. If it works, and that's the difference there. I don't want to take away anything. Being able to grab these 2 Drakes here, but now with a slight goal lead, this is starting to kind of bring back towards the Belmont.
And yeah, some of the most common drag platform or drag patterns are either Team A4 or something that, especially in a lot of the games back when I was down in that silver, down in that gold, 2-0, and then you get reverse swept. You get the next 4 dragons for the other team is very, very, very common in these ranks. You're through the early game, and now that you've gotten to that mid game, the team with the better mid game pressure potentially in a position to secure a lot of those dragons back to back. So I think that they need to be careful here for the side of Atlantis not to fall into that trap and give away a ton of dragons in a row, as we'll see the fight getting set up here. Tyken holding on to the side here, has that Wukong Cyclone of almost getting ready, I believe. Gnar working on some charge as well. It's going to be the Ash Hero coming in here, and Bessa jumping to the backline as well, as it will be the kill. Buffy goes down early. Tyken can't find a way to play this fight. Caitlyn gonna go down to the Aurora here. Nice. And again, this Wukong just caught nowhere, not getting any value. It's gonna be the Aurora trying to get away. The Invis gonna help a little bit here. Is in the mid lane. Teddy working on shakes at the moment here. Sona gonna come back in, trying to help a little bit. Mega almost ready, available here for the side of Teddy. Gets it available. That rage bar full, transforms, but that should be the third dragon to Atlantis, and again, that's a really, really nice swing, and I think that if they end up winning this game, that fight right there might be one of the big turning points that actually secure them a nice, solid lead.
Yeah, that was a huge turning point there for either team, and Atlantis just gritting their teeth, locking in, and finding that bit of grit and determination to find themselves the Drake, and now being in a very pretty position. See the difference here being 3 Drakes instead of sitting on 2 Drakes. You still have that sole threat for the next 5 minutes. Belmonts only have a little bit of time before they have to be at that dragon pit. There's no, unless you're winning the game, there's no other thing that you have to do there. And it just kind of gives so much advantage here for the side of Atlantis. I really hope that we can see they be able to find a little something, but now the hook goes through. Nice. It only takes 1 as Mana finds it. Crow going to be shut down as Caitlyn now 2,300 gold lead.
And yeah, I'm not sure if we're just pinging vision or if we're pinging a call. Wukong was pinging the Baron there. I think it would ended up just being maybe a pink ward that he went and cleared. As we do have tactical nuke here working around, just going to be clearing some vision. This is all good and well, especially if we catch this stealth ward here. We do catch it, but we don't actually take it down. As whoa, another solo kill. Teddy was doing great at the start of the game, staying even in some rough HP spots, but ever since getting that first solo kill, Shakes has completely taken this lane over. Now 4 levels up here on this Wukong.
Yeah, no, very scary situation to be. You can't even, that is not a safe place for you. Monkey King, you have to be careful there as we do approach back towards the bot lane here. Buckbeat just feeling the mode here from loops. It's just Aurora, just a very dangerous character within themselves. The trades are just something not to be trifled with.
And yeah, we'll see for the moment if we can try and stabilize the Bessa, able to take down this top tower. So really a nice position for Atlantis to try and force this game 3 here. Again, not a done deal quite yet, right? Caitlyn is still pretty strong, still up 2k gold on the lane opponent, so still some positives in this game for the Belmonts, but I definitely feel like it's starting to be the exact opposite pattern, right? The same pattern that Belmonts used to win game 1 is starting to feel like exactly what's happening against them right now, right? You may have a strong ADC, but the rest of your team is down in every position, right? You're going down a ton of dragons. Your jungle objective security really comes down to just the fact that you got the grubs earlier in the game. So really starting to look like a reversal of game 1. So we'll see if the Belmonts, who have been in the position before, know how to reflex around it. As we will have the double Lilia ult, and we're just committing to the Caitlyn. Thresh hook misses on the slow. Arrow finds the Caitlyn. A nice find. Kog'Ran surely goes down here, and if the burn will be enough to kill, Kog'Ran does go down. But the Lilia, what pathing are we taking? They just try and walk through the Raptors here. Sona is able to keep them alive, but what a potential blunder there by tactical nuke. But again, nice work by Crow, able to keep them on their feet.
Yeah, as we do see Aurora able to take tier 3 as well too, just grabbing as much advantage as possible wherever they can. I like this flip here that we've seen at Atlantis here. 800 gold lead now blossoming to a 2.3. Again, having that potential threat of Belmonts having to be at that dragon pit in the next minute. Meanwhile, Atlantis doesn't necessarily have to be there. They can go for the Baron. They can trade a Drake just to even farm and try to get more lane pressure, even if they want to. I like that they have such different venues and avenues here. I wonder which one they're going to take and how this is going to go down. But right now, if Atlantis is going to win it, it's going to be around here. What's going to really make the decision here?
And yeah, we'll try and hold it here. 2K gold lead down for the side of Atlantis. Obviously, it's still holding that dragon lead with the next one up in 30 seconds. Need to see this rotation. Tactical Nuke needs to calm down here on the side. If he gets caught, could be danger. Crow almost gets hooked. Teleport comes in from Shakes as the Gnar moving in. No rage bar filled up right now. Completely empty on the matter. As we'll see a vision control getting fought for in the bushes. Wukong just committing onto Deadly Lull. Chunks in half HP, but the Sona ult gets ripped down. And now we're fighting the mid lane here. The Encore misses. Investa ulting in from the backside. Lilia here harassing as well. Aurora ult comes in. It's going to be able to take down Seraphine. Beta trying to back away as well. A double kill for Call Me Luke. Tactical Nuke fighting from the side. Can throw them in. Tyken here in a bit of danger as well. Shakes and Tac Nuke trying to chase them down here. Lilia, a lot of burn stacking up. Tyken could go down to it. We'll see if he's going to die to it or if he just gets caught regardless after. Lilia going to throw the E, misses. Surely Smite Q comes out. Tactical Nuke secures it, and that should be the soul here. And it really does feel like that should just be the game for Atlantis, but obviously anything can happen, but definitely feels like they are in a very, very stable spot now.
Really nice work there. The execution just off there. I don't know if it was miscommunication, just a vision being split between 3 people. There was a lot of ways to win that, also as many ways to lose that team fight there, as we saw Belmonts just kind of scrambling, not really focusing on the proper targets. Also then to lose such prior ultimates to just kind of crumble there. It was a very difficult team fight to watch, and now I really don't think that lead matters in terms of Caitlyn, when that 2.1k gold lead was worth about 3 people. Now that lead is about nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there will be some magic for the Belmonts, right? They had a very stable game 1, but they're in the opposite here in game 2. Bot lane, Ashero from the mid lane connects onto Seraphine, and Call Me Luke's looking for as much of a combo as we can find. Looks like Buckby will be able to just walk out, though. Gets chunked about three quarters of their HP, but stays alive. It takes some vision down, and then will back away, but we'll see Buckby here. We'll just go for a recall. Sona going to trade out some vision. Could end up finding the Seraphine and canceling that back, but just pats down to the Aurora, checks a few different spots instead, and it will be the recall for the side of Buckby. But again, 4k gold lead right now, 5.6 if you ignore the Caitlyn's gold lead over the Ashe. So again, really a nice position to be in right now for this side of Forge, as we'll see Buckby clearing out some vision or some waves down bot lane. Is Deadly Lull just gonna get jumped on. Tyken here could have a nice early pick at the start of the fight. Ace in the hole comes in. Teddy secures the kill before Caitlyn can even find it, so it's a nice kill on the Ashe. The question is, what can we do with it here in the next 40 seconds? I don't know that it's enough for us to just slam Baron, so it really does feel like we need to be looking for some of these tier 1 towers here.
Yeah, just kind of get a more lane pressure, lane control from either side would really be the option here. The gold lead is kind of shrinking from the side of Atlantis, but with Soul, Baron should be an easy pickup, and once that Baron is secured, it should be smooth sailing into game 3.
And yeah, we'll see the root snap on to the Aurora. Call Me Loops here trying to hold on. We'll see him clearing out. Still pretty even in CS in that mid lane. Obviously some nice leads in terms of CS in some other places. Ambessa notably up about 25. The Caitlyn up by about 50 is obviously going to be one of the key things, giving them the gold lead they have. But we'll have to see if they can actually force a value out of it. Last game, in the same position, the team at the deficit was able to get a nice team fight or two, get some nice gold funneled onto their ADC. Obviously, the Yanara last game in the hands of Deadly, but ended up just not truthfully mattering all that much in the grand scheme. Got a bit of gold, but weren't able to truly punish with it. So we'll see if Caitlyn even can get a nice fight and get that gold lead even more in the green, but obviously it's still not necessarily guaranteed to matter here. Do you still have Baron up, Elder up in about 2.5 minutes?
Yeah, that's exactly just the issue here. is, yeah, Caitlyn has the lead, but everywhere else the lead is just so much huger. Before that 21k gold lead, stacked against Ashe, mid, and the jungle. Now, it really just kind of really doesn't add much to it. You had mid, you had jungle. They're over it there. As you see, Shakes not taking a lot of damage here between the trades anymore.
And yeah, will be Bida here looking to move forward here. We're probably going to be looking for a hook here. We'll see if they can find an angle to even go for anything. Tactical nuke harassing as well. Palmy Loops could be in a bit of danger here if Bugby decides to go aggro, but I suppose on the Aurora, probably going to be able to outmaneuver to safety as we do get that positioning. Looking at the mini-map here, aggro, Lilia able to steal away the Gromp. Shakes on that Guardian Angel, third item completed as Bugby will look aggro onto Palmy Loops. I really felt like the Aurora was the one looking aggro, uses the ultimate to dodge away from that encore here as the box comes down. Tactical nuke could be falling to the same folly as previously, able to stay on their feet, comes in for the W on Tyken, goes into the Hourglass.
Nice
now.
Hourglass.
He can try and get this commit here, but Deadly and Crow are there in time, so they're going to help out. And look at Shakes here. The flank comes in from Ambessa. Coghren is going to go down to the ace in the hole. It's perfect timing from the Ambessa on an unaware Belmont crew. Teddy goes for a massive stun play, but nobody else is left alive, so it is just going to be a clean 4 for nothing here. Baron is going to go down here clean to the side of Forge Esports. Aurora has no problem with continuing the split push bot lane, and that fight right there realistically should just be the actual end of the game. I don't know what we're doing to come back from this at this point. We're going to have Baron pushing, we're going to use that to force Elder, and we're going to use that to end the game, so we'll see if something crazy happens, but it really does feel like we just found our way to game 3.
It seemed that it seems that the Belmonts finally had the execution down pat, but it's just a case of just too little too late, as now, yes, you land the hook, fantastic, but now here comes Shakes, and just ruins that entire team fight and any chance of Belmont's coming back into that fight. And it's just a little unfortunate. While it took so long to finally for it to happen, I think we may be looking at the last few team fights here. I think now, even if Mana is able to land the hook, I don't think they have enough damage or time to go forward. Wow. Enchanted Enchanted Ice Arrow going to land, but the Lantern going to save him. But now the public execution right into the middle of the team, going to find the mid, as now Tycon goes for the Cyclone, but now just does not have the sustain as Loops finds another kill. Yet again, only 2 members left on the side of the Belmonts right now, as Shakes is godlike right now, had a fantastic run, finds a second kill there, and that's going to be the ace 3.4k gold lead. With that being the top side, Elder going to be spawned as well. I don't think it's really necessary. I think if it was just a full 5 push, I think they are able to wrap things up. But hey, I digress. They just want to make sure it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, they will pick up that Elder, add it to their buff bar here. Gonna be the inhib picked up here. Call Me Loops has teleport. You would hope to see them go ahead and at least take a recall here. Everybody's gonna go by, then they are gonna come back and slam the end of the game with that Elder Dragon. Surely should be the call here. We'll see the Aurora back up to recall. Looks like Ambessa gonna go clear the top wave, try and take down that tier 2 top. Does have their own teleport, so could be waiting maybe for a gold breakpoint. Maybe they're getting close to having that next item done and trying to force it here before they take that reset. But regardless, we'll wait and see exactly what the specifics end up being here, as we do have Seraphine Thresh lurking on that Ambessa, but realistically they lose the 1v2, so I don't think it matters that they're here. Just gonna work on the wave here. Again, 25 seconds on the Baron is going to be the most difficult part of this defense. Baron and Elder paired up is absolutely threatening. Elder on its own is still scary, but at least you can burn the waves then run away, as we'll see the arrow come through. Tactical Nuke is sprinting to the backline. Encore connects to Bessa ult into the backline as well. Public Execution here is lined up for the Belmonts here. The death of Castlevania, as we'll see the Thresh go down. There goes Seraphine. There goes the Caitlyn. 5 versus 2. We have a minute 15 of Elder, and that surely should be the coffin built up here for this side of Forge Esports. Tyken trying, Teddy trying, but the Ambessa just happy to walk through the towers, tank up all the damage. 1 for Ambessa, 1 for Ashe, 5 for 0, and that's going to be game number 2 in the books for Forge. They get their own 5-0 Dragon sweep, and we go to game 3.
It matters, Dragons. Dragons matter, man.
Yep.
Atlantis took to the drawing board. We said the only issue Atlantis had was the Dragons. They handled the Dragons, and look at that. They leave with the blue screen victory. GG's, well played for bringing us to a game 3 with a 24K gold lead there with the 24K gold, or excuse me, 16K gold advantage. Really nice work from the boys. Let's see what the Belmonts can bring to the board, and if they will be able to get away with this game 3, or does Atlantis have all their tactics figured out? We shall return. Don't go anywhere, as game 3 will be on the way. And we are back, Ember Esports, week 2, going off of a fiery start here as we are headed into our game 3. But before we get into the game, guys, just a quick, big thanks, big shout outs to everyone tuned in. We do run ads, that does keep the lights on here at Ember Esports. But a quick sub, goes a very long way. It does help the crew, the staff, everyone along. I am saying that because we did get another sub. Thank you all so much. I cannot see where it is. I could just see the goal went up. So we are 1 away from our sub 10 goal. So if it happens, it happens. If not, we're 1 away. And even if you can't, drop in a follow and just keep in tune and staying in tune with us at Ember Esports means the world to us. Either way, thank you. We love you. And on to our game number 3, as we already see the bans coming in. 20 characters already gone and off the map. Let's see where these next bans and these last picks go.
Yeah, this is interesting start, right? You see the bands very similar to the previous games with a few quick changes. Kane, Smolder, Neferi, Jinx, Emilio, Mordekaiser off the table. And then Forge open up with an Ivern 1 slam. Definitely interesting to see, to say the least. Another character, not necessarily unpopular by any means, but one I haven't seen in a little bit here. The Ornn getting picked up for the Belmonts. Just going to try and get a nice power anchor stone in the top lane here for the Belmonts. But what do you think here? What are we playing into this Ivern if we're the side of the Belmonts?
So Ivern's one of those junglers where it's like, oh, yay, it's Ivern for the team. But then the jungler's like, oh no, it's Ivern. Like, the jungle speed clear is insane. The support utility that Ivern can supply and apply as well too is fantastic. You gotta bring someone who can kind of match pace with that. Someone like Yi, where you can kind of go and invade into their jungle, mess up the Ivern. If you can get the Ivern out of their own jungle, and get them out of your jungle as well too, it's going to be fantastic. But you're going to see the Nautilus pick up here. I like where Atlantis is going here. It is going to be a Protect the President comp already off the rip. Belmonts are responding very quickly with their own kind of hold them down, lock them down. With the Ornn pick, you're going to see the Braum as well here. Xayah locked down as well with the escape from this CC from Heck. I really like how these guys are responding to each other. It's going to be another bloodbath, and I'm excited to see how this round 2 goes.
And yeah, I'm looking through the characters here for the side of the Belmonts in terms of Tyken, in terms of what he plays, right? As we'll see if the Braum does get locked in. It does get locked in, so we're still looking for our jungler here for the side of the Belmonts. And a couple of interesting ideas are coming just looking at the characters that they play, right? Viego going to be their most played option in solo queue with over 30 games on it. Could be something that we want to pick in other ideas. Just a couple of things that they've played recently that maybe can bring that aggressive tempo you're looking into Ivern. Pantheon, Jax, Kiana, maybe even something like this Silas or Morgana could be an interesting option just to think about here as we go through our bans. I definitely think that with those, the Belmonts definitely have a couple of characters that can work decently, not even to just the Ivern, but the composition as a whole from what we've seen so far as we get Akali and Jax banned away.
I think the Viego would be almost perfect here, honestly. You have a lot of targets to just kind of go through, execute. The Ivern isn't the best soul to take, but that Nautilus Kai'Sa's fantastic there. And the top laner is going to be as threatening and as deadly as they need to be to go against this Ornn. So it's going to be a good pick. I think that is a great call there, Colonel. I think the Viego is definitely going to be in Belmont's favor there, as we are looking to see where this last ban is. Honestly, from the side of Atlantis, I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't Viego, if they did their homework.
And yeah, we'll see what that ban ends up being, right? Kayn Neferi, two other jungle characters that do show up on the profile. So obviously some level of studying there, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm definitely curious
Okay.
into where the side of Atlantis are going with their top lane pick, as they are presumably going to have to blind pick, assuming the Belmonts do pick their jungle here, which isn't necessarily a guarantee. Or they have the Ornn pick already. This is going to be a mid blind pick, apologies, for the
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
Atlantis. But into the Ornn, I'm curious what they're going to go to. They could just go into something, another tank to try and play a slow lane, right? Malphite is still open, and there is already some AD on this team, especially if they do go Viego on 4, but instead they want to hold that jungle pick to 5, and they're going to pick up this Orianna and give Atlantis the counter pick in both solo lanes.
So do you see the top lane Volibear going to be picked here into the Ornn? It's going to be a battle of the brothers, ice versus fire. I think this is a great pick into the Ornn. A little unorthodox, but definitely can still work, as you do see the Yone go to round out this team. And yeah, this is going to be a great just roundabout. Keep that Kai'Sa alive. A lot of pressure. A lot of dive potential from the side of Atlantis, honestly.
And yeah, we'll see what this last pick is, right? There are still some options you could go. If you like your double carry and you want to play Protect the two VIPs, you could look at something like Sejuani, I believe is still open currently, is something that they was on that profile as well. But we'll see
Yeah.
what the call is going to be from the Belmonts. And there's one a bit
Interesting.
newer in terms of the rework. Obviously, not like it was just last week or anything, but Shyvana, definitely an interesting option to go into here.
I was a little surprised there for the Shyvana, but it gives him a little more frontline as well too. With the Ornn and Braun, now with Shyvana as well too, playing that bruiser bit, role a bit. I don't know. I thought the Viego was really gonna be it, but I don't know. I guess we'll see how the Shyvana works here.
And yeah, definitely curious to see here in terms of these comps. Do both feel vaguely similar here? Obviously, some notable differences, especially if you look at where each character is. But two main DPS VIPs for both teams in terms of the Kai'Sa, Yone, Xayah, and Orianna. You have a Bruiser on both sides with the Shyvana and the Volibear. A nice support engage with the Braum and the Nautilus. Maybe Ornn in that category as well. And then Ivern, obviously going to be the lone, I suppose, enchanter really in this game. Definitely interested to see. What do you think overall here? Is there a comp that you're looking at and you would prefer to play?
I like Atlantis a lot, and overall, again, it's not as do or die as the last team. There's a
Sure.
lot more front to back. You have a lot more to front line there. You have a lot of dive potential here. I want to see early game tower dives here, because everyone always thinks towers are safety, because for the most time they are. You can normally just go to your tower. You're all right for the most part. A 4-man dive comes, you might get 2, you might get 3, you know. But with the Volibear just being able to turn off towers, you have Daisy to go in as a big minion. There should be no question any time that if you see someone on the side of Belmonts by themselves, unless it's Ornn, you should just be all in them all the time. And I hope to see that from Atlantis. On the other side of Belmonts, we saw a lot of control from lane to dragons in that game 1. That's what I want to see more from the Belmonts. I want to see this just nice lane control. We don't have to do anything fancy. We just need it to win in farm and objectives. Once we get those 3, 4 Drakes, just end the game, wrap it up. Shyvana with the
Yeah.
rework, it isn't all for Drakes. You're going for the build up. I don't know, man. I think the Viego would have been a little more, but I think for team overall, the composition, I think Shyvana is a little better. But I don't know. I like the greed. I like the greed. But that's where I'm at.
And yeah, we'll have to see how it ends up going here. Definitely hoping that maybe for the sake of Belmonts that Shyvana remembers the passive and we do work on those dragons to try and get some of those stacks, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the dragons have been a big tell of who's winning in the past. We'll have to wait and see if that repeats in game 3 as we'll send things back over to a break. We'll be back our last game of Ember Esports Cinder week 2 here in a few minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The last game of the night. Winner takes it all here. Atlantis on blue side. The Belmonts on a red side. Who is going to take it? We shall find out soon enough here.
And yeah, some interesting things to note here just about the setup to this game. A lot of people, obviously, with their standard runes. A couple of things that may be a little bit interesting here is notably for the side of Forge Esports, and that's one, Shake's running the Lethal Tempo Volley Bear. Not by any means bad, not saying he shouldn't be running this, but definitely could be a little bit abnormal as opposed to something maybe like the Conqueror, a little bit more standard. PTA, I know at least used to be popular. And the other thing in connection to the Volley Bear runes is there are 3 Lethal Tempos on the board here for the side of Forge Esports, which, again, doesn't necessarily mean anything good or bad, just something I find a little bit interesting to see here in terms of the rune selection.
Yeah, for sure. The Lethal Tempo, I think it's to kind of help this early game a bit. Try to get those few stacks faster as we get right into a huge fight here. The stun going to land. The exhaust going to be used as well too from the side of Mana. And now these Qs are looking real nice from Frostbite. And now boom, bang, bop, they're dead. This is the double kill.
Wow,
this is the bot lane we've been looking for the Belmonts. The double kill coming in hot. Mana looking nice right now.
Yeah, it's a really nice start there. They got so much damage on Crow. Then the middle of the fight looked okay, right? But then Deadly, he kept trading, and then he swapped over from hitting the Xayah to hitting the Braum, and then the Xayah just is able to stay healthy enough to keep fighting, and so they just keep hitting, keep hitting, keep hitting. Xayah gets the double kill on for an early recall here, and we're able to just go Cole Longsword and get some extra bonuses. Pot here, another pink ward here, so a really, really nice early game position here for the Xayah. Again, not necessarily game ending, but it definitely gives them advantages that could be converted into more.
Let's see how much more they can get out of it. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of the Cole pickup here. You just got 2. I think I would have liked the... I feel Pickaxe would have still been there, right? Maybe. If not, you
Cole Longsword should be maybe 800. So he ought to pink as well. So yeah, I think you might be right that he might have had Pickaxe money.
Right,
but...
you could have Pickaxe. I feel Pickaxe would have been a little more of a dominant presence. That's just me. You know, I don't know. It is Xayah too. You do want your feathers out a bit. Whatever. Yeah. Listen. They're piloting, they're playing, you know what I'm saying? We'll let them play their game right now. I like the 2-0, a very, very much cleaner game from Mana. Frostbite, the perfect cue for them to land up on there. But with that, I want to see where they go with it, honestly.
I say, yeah, I don't think Cole's inherently a bad pickup, right? I think obviously Cole's a great item just inherently at the item. Obviously, they are just going to be forced to play maybe a little bit slower than if they did go into a pure aggro buy theirs. We'll see Tak Nuke here, going to be forced to play a bit passive anyways. So again, I do expect them, the call for them is to say, oh, actually, hold on, we'll get this fight here first. Not going to go in for an early hook, but the feathers are set up immediately to root Deadly Lull. Tak Nuke moving in as well. Crow could just go down here early. The Ivern Shield's there just in time to keep him on his feet. Deadly Lull taking a lot of damage. Cogring flashing away. Will go down. Ivern gets the shutdown. Tyken gonna be here. Beat a Mana 1 HP. Burning down a little bit. Should be able to get away as again, it will be the early extra death there for the Xayah here after that first play. As we'll see again, obviously going for that slower, trying to play slower with those items, and they end up getting caught into a fight here, and they do go down. So definitely a nice pickup there for the Ivern. Accelerate him a little bit as he'll take a quick recall here, but again, definitely nice for the Kai'Sa to be able to get back into some of that CS.
You got to be feeling a little bit better there. Honestly, you want to know what that was there? That was the Pickaxe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking there. It was a really unfortunate there. I'm honestly surprised the sustain from the side of Atlantis was enough to keep them afloat there for that flip to happen there. I thought the damage from Kerrigan and from Mana was going to be enough, but, you know, here we are. It's not the end of the world, though, but for the side of Atlantis, you got to be feeling a lot better with that kind of closing out that lead a little bit.
And yeah, we'll have, for the moment here, just to take stock in some of the other positions, because we have been looking bot a lot as there has been a lot of action here. Top lane, Volibear going to lead the CS by about a wave at the moment. Shyvana going to be up a camp or two on the Ivern as well. 12 CS in total right now. We're going to go up a little bit more with Krugs. Orianna, though, the big victor here. They're both 0-0 and 0 in the mid lane, as Orianna will teleport back. They're currently up 12 CS here, or I suppose actually 14, so just over 2 waves in advantage there. As we'll see top lane, Teddy and Shakes in another quick trade here. Don't know that we'll be able to chase too long here for the Volibear, as we do actually step back in for the Ornn. So
you see that
Shakes,
lethal?
Yeah, able to punish a little bit more there. I don't think Ornn needed to step back up before the stacks burned down. Whoa! Flash for flash here. Teddy does not want to get caught out by another chunk.
Oh, the fear. I felt that fear there, Teddy. Oh, man. That was the older brother. That was the older brother hit. He said, please stop. Like, and now just trying to taunt them a little bit, trying to gain some of that aura loss from the immediate fear flash. But I don't know if there's going to be any aura gain there. He's going to have to at least get a solo to hang out on that one. As we do see Crow pushing forward here. It is even in terms of gold right now. But that lead in middle is really what matters right now. As we do see Ocean Drake up, it may be a fight in the mid as we do head over there.
Yeah, Crow gonna get chunked down about half of his HP, and Directed Cam wants to watch the Nautilus get chunked instead of that. Yone just going down here. As you mentioned, it will be the kill there. Looks like they just popped a Shockwave, and they're able to pick it up there with the Shyvana as well. So nicely done for them. That mid laner is going to be dead. The Ivern going to be forced to walk topside, and bot lane has that prio lead from what we did see in lieu of that kill. So we'll see them burning it away. There is a pink on it. They do step back. Just going to pull the dragon out of the pit a little bit here. Does look like they obviously are still going to pick up that dragon, not giving up on it by any means. Clear out the vision here. Kaisa moving up, maybe trying to just steal it with W, seeing if it can happen, but not going to get down. So nice early dragon there for the side of the Belmonts. The Shakes could have been in a bit of danger there. Teddy, though, sees that E coming down, decides to just get out of there with his own Searing Charge. Is down about 2 waves of CS here in the top lane as well, but right now in terms of HP in an okay spot. Ult comes out here, could have a combo to kill, but Shakes getting a little bit of security on himself. Ivern as well going to show up to help, and now this could be a dive. Daisy comes out here, Q lands, nice charge to get back to safety. Tactical Nuke going to take some damage here. Teddy, though, holding on here. Tyken's in the area now. Ivern has to decide what to do. He's just gonna flash out and get away here.
What in the Tom and Jerry did I just watch up there, man? The chaos between all these for these members there. Very back and forth. I feel the trigger was pulled there early on Shakes. If you knew Tactical Nuke was coming up to the top side, you should have just waited, ulted, and got the dove there with Daisy. I feel that would have possibly gotten a kill, even with the Ornn horn available there. I feel they would have been able to get the kill there. But I think the nerves of being in game 3 here, where every decision really does matter and can make or break the game, just with how volatile these games have been, it's definitely understandable. Also, it's getting a little late there too. I'm not sure where everyone is, but it's about to be 11 o'clock here. 3 games of League back to back to back can definitely fry the brain as well too.
And yeah, definitely we'll have to wait and see which team can stay composed a little bit longer here, as again, obviously some interesting calls here. We'll see another retreat here from Teddy, able to stagger that stun nicely. But speaking of Teddy, going to be the, we'll say, the biggest winner from the game going later, simply because you get those ornaments, which I guess doesn't really actually help you all that much, but it does help your team overall a whole lot. 1k gold value for each of your players, as we do see the Void Grubs picked up here. And again, we're starting to see a bit of the same trap we've fallen into in game 1 and 2, and it actually is even worse, because in game 1 and 2, at least the team got the grubs if they don't get the dragons. As Ivern down bot lane, Cogran gonna get thrown up. It'll be the flash. Braum trying to peel And it looks like Vita willing to take the death to get Coghren out here, but they might just be forced to try and commit to something here. We'll see if they can get out. Nice root comes through, but we have to flash away with the barrier. Coghren then steps up here. Kaisa ults in and Deadly. A nice bit of value here. Gets the double on the back and survives. So well played to the Kaisa here. And that gold lead from the earliest fight then turned around completely here, up 500 now.
Man, called that karma there. Beautiful performance there. Pickaxe in the pocket. No, let me stop.
Okay.
But overall, really good performance there. Just staying and handling. Ooh, under the heat of pressure. But speaking of pressure there, beautiful ball. Ball v Blazer wombo combo there in the mid lane. That's gonna find two. The secret silent killer. Buckby here. Who really was very strong in game one, and now just having a dominant performance on this Orianna. Really knows how to handle their mages very well.
And yeah, I suppose realistically, considering the item pathing doesn't have a pickaxe for the Xayah, maybe an extra reason not to go for it, not wanting to delay your first item, which could be a strong point to, you know, trying to force just that extra bit of pressure, which at this point won't matter because we are slower than the Kaisa, but still going to be nice to have that item not slowed down, I guess, especially considering the pace. The Cole still giving some nice gold as we'll see Teddy and Shakes here. They're doing their thing again, as we'll see a couple of HP bars very slightly move down with that unenhanced W on the Ornn. As we'll see it, Deadly Lil Crow back in their lane here. They do now have the true advantage with that first item completed for the Kaisa. Their own Cole even more progressed than that Xayah's. So definitely in a pretty nice spot right now. As it is worth noting the gold really just dead even right now. 19.5k gold to both teams. A minor lead for Forge Esports. Yeah, as they'll go up to 19.6 moments quicker. But again, completely negligible. All of that gold in top jungle and bot being evened out because Orianna up 1.6k, up 30 CS, has 3 kills. So definitely a nice game so far for Buckby. We'll see if they can get the same value they did in game one.
The game is a little different here, though. Right now, that 800 gold lead stacked together between top and jungle, Orianna clears that. And she clears all 3 just about. So if Orianna plays their cards right, this is where Caitlyn was game 2, if I'm not mistaken. They were in about the same situation, but their ball was in their court, but they couldn't get away. That pun was not intended, but with Orianna, that works perfectly here. As Buckby just going to take the trade there. As now we're going to see control here for Drake. Still going to be for the side of the Belmonts. That is going to be a nice Drake secure. And this is kind of where we're starting to see this team composition from the side of Atlantis kind of start to fall a little bit. It is a lot of shield. It's a lot of peel. But there's not a lot of damage there. They do they do have it in terms of Yone, but Yone right now is not in the best position right now. It's not completely offline, but he's definitely not already first item in plus boots, how Orianna is.
And yeah, we'll have Beta Coghren here, just continuing to try and poke away here. First item is officially completed for Coghren here, as they can fight if they want to, don't necessarily have to, as we'll get the knot. Oh, connecting.
The damage is
Through
just
both
not
here.
there.
Braum trying to block what he can, but he's still taking a lot more damage than the others are. Again, like you mentioned, right? They just don't actually have it here. It's going to be the pull back on Xayah. There goes the side of Braum. Kaisa going to get the double here. And again, this game, not necessarily there yet, but it really is starting to look like it might boil down to Kaisa versus Orianna. The two big heroes from both sides. Obviously, some tanks, some supports for both teams, but definitely looking to be a nice spot right now for the two of them in their known lanes here. Call Me Loops could be in danger here. That tower mid is actually about to die as the Q lands. Call Me Loops is walking up, but we have some Orianna damage still. And yeah, like, I mean, we just can't walk up if we're young. We died a 1-2W. And I mean, that's just a massive blunder there. I get you want to try and help Tactical Nuke, but that's just a peel. Walk away. Let him cover for you while you both get out. But nope, we walk up. Buckby gets another kill as Teddy has to flash out of that volley. He feels like he might die without it. Is actually just going to disable the tower. Call the Forge Guard comes up. Comes in. Tyken gonna try and hold on. We can't get that knock up on the volley bear, but we do trade it at the very least.
Much better. That was so much better there. The tower shut down, forcing the dive there. If Nuke was there, would have been a lot more cleaner. But still, the 1-for-1 trade isn't the end of the world. Atlantis is able to shift the goal to their side. Now, again, it's going to be the Orianna and Kaisa show, and it's going to be really up to who is going to be able to carry their team out of this crazy back and forth fight.
And yeah, this Yone is definitely the biggest loser of the game so far. It's a rough one for Call Me Loops, who I feel has had a decent series so far, having a rough one here in this third and final game of the series. As we'll see Crow here going to get found in the jungle. Does have people on the move for him, though. Yone's below this fight as well, so they will just back away here. Nice escape here, I suppose, on technicalities for Crow, but it'll be Buckby and Bida truthfully escaping from the biggest problem that could have potentially faced them, as we'll get Ivern going to land a Q here. Fortunately for Yo, not going to take it, as we would be in for a world of hurt afterwards, as we get back top lane, and they're doing their thing again. We do the volley stun into Orange Charge, as we will land the Thunder here. Shake's going to continue fighting forward. Teddy, he's going to walk away in a straight line, as he will be able to get out here. Knockup comes in, a little bit of damage back onto Shakes, who will land another W, so not going to lose anything meaningful for that last trade there, as Teddy going to take almost all of the damage in that fight.
Yeah, you gotta be a little careful here. Belmonts still scale, so Air never really out of the game. Belmonts still have 2 Drakes up. The next 90 seconds is gonna be very pivotal for both teams. The Killer Instinct gonna land as Kagrin finds the Featherstorm, looks for the escape, dodges the nuke Q, as now Shyvana comes in for the front line, trying to hold and find an escape there. But I don't think all that was needed, as the shutdown is going to be found, and that's going to be extra money falling into Kaisa. Crow going to be able to find a hook on the mana. You should not be walking up there. If you cannot touch Deadly, there's no reason for you guys to approach here. And now, as we saw Atlantis' team composition starting to crumble, now we're starting to see it really strengthen here. It's going to be such a hard task to get on to that Kaisa. Deadly Lol, as long as they keep bobbing and weaving, could definitely bring and run this game through the Belmonts.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, again, I think at this point the question is going to be proposed to both teams, and it's how do we kill the opposition's carry, right? And I think when it comes to the side of the Belmonts, right, I see a very simple pattern in terms of our carry is Orianna, and we have a lot of great ball deliverers, right? Shyvana obviously is going to be the A-list target here, because you kind of just have an unstoppable dash, and you get to go wherever you want to, and obviously maybe dangerous, but if you end up in the middle of 4 people and you get a shockwave combo, you get your own damage inside of it, you are going to be doing lethal amounts of damage, especially to that Kaisa, who I would expect to have a pretty squishy build. Maybe they will opt into a more hybrid or even just a full defensive item later, but a fight in the mid lane here, Bida could just be caught off. Yone Ult going to come out on top of it here, takes down the Braum. We're going to chase Kagura under tower here, finds the kill. Tower shots not going to connect to him on the delay. We'll see Call Me Loops get out, call the forward back comes out. Teddy going to look for something, does land it on the Yone, but we can't actually catch him here. Crow going to get knocked up though, could be the next target in terms of the death list, but don't feel like we have the damage, so we're going to back away, try to move over toward this dragon, but it is just the 3 of them versus 5 right now, so it feels like, if anything, they're just going to be stalling for those respawns. Braum just now getting on his feet. Xayah another 10 seconds until they'll be even vaguely out of spawn here, as they are starting the dragon down these players. Volibear recalling. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a buy teleport, but we'll have to wait and see how important the side of Forge feel. They need this player here. They're going to be getting ready for it. Titan has smite right now. The dragon's burning down, and Ivern's not ready. We could just secure the dragon right now for Shyvana. Ivern goes down. Can we smite it for Shyvana? No! Kaisa steals it away. We can't get that smite for Shyvana, who does end up dying here to the Volibear. Now it's going to be the side of Shakes here, kiting it out. Deadly as well with him, and the Kaisa is tearing up the fight. Full HP still. A triple kill for Volibear. Xayah pops the ult, trying to back away, but the Volibear lethal tempo, Dusk and Dawn Flicker Blade is too much right now, and now there's 2 champions for Atlantis, and I don't know what the Belmonts are going to do about them.
That was Belmont's fight? As soon as they lost Dragon, everything went downhill from there. Deadly's positioning, Deadly's accuracy, Deadly's reaction. This is now Deadly's game to run away with. We mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
It is going to be so hard to pin Deadly down. With the Bali Bear front line, it was just fantastic. Shakes keeping that peel up and alive. The teleport was also fantastic. Ivern, the tactical nuke, that was a little shaky. But you got to give it to your ADC. Trusting in Deadly to secure that. Really nice work there. The last Whisper. Oh my gosh. So far behind and now able to get the solo kill. Things are really starting to look up for Atlantis. That was a 4,000 gold flip towards the positive. It was near an 8k gold flip altogether.
And yeah, we will now have Call Me Loops here. Working back on this bot lane. Crow here going to be working around some vision, trying to clear out what this pink has seen. Again, plenty of time still till that dragon, and it is worth noting with that Kaisa steal, this is the first game today that all the dragons have not been taken by the same team, so definitely gonna have to keep an eye on that streak being broken. Game 1, it was 5-0 with an Elder. Game 2, it was 5-0 with an Elder. Game 3, we currently sit at 2-1, but a massive gold advantage now favoring that one. And they have two characters who are very tough to kill here, and I'm not too sure what the Belmonts can do about them here. Do you think there's a specific action or a specific thing they need to do, or are they just hoping for a good fight at this point?
You got to get rid of the Kaisa. A lot easier said than done. Shockwave can do the job. You still have Ornn Mastercraft items, as Xayah has not grabbed theirs just yet. Teddy has to make it to 16. Again, a lot easier said than done. You can also go for a Drake steal for the side of the Belmonts. It's not completely over just yet, but if you don't nip it in the butt immediately, you are definitely going to lose this one.
As, yeah, Buckby not going to find this mark here onto that Ivern. Again, not necessarily playing at Dragon right now, but can definitely be a little bit scary here, as we'll see Crow working his way up here to regroup with his team. Volley Bear split top, Yon split bottom. Shiv and Ornn both in the area for that Volley Bear, but even in the 2v1, I'm not sure that I favor them right now with just how scary this Volley Bear is, especially if he can get that tempo stacked safely at all. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see if we do get on to a fight of that nature. Doesn't look like it with Shyvana moving down. Ornn just going to keep holding that top lane again. Has one extra ornament ready right now with those masterwork items that he hasn't given to a teammate yet, because he hasn't been able to group too well, as Buckby could be in danger here, but looks like he'll have the sustain. B-Dust is going to be rooted up here, but again, looks the same. He'll be able to escape for the moment.
Oh, I was mistaken there. I thought it was 16 to get the Mastercraft items. Either way, this is going to start helping the Belmonts try to kind of mount the comeback here. They're going to have to do something here. I don't think they want Drake to be tied here, but I don't know if they can fully contest it. I think they might have to either give it up or go for the steal, as they see the dive coming in. The Feather Storm going to get them out of the most danger. Nope, just kidding. Killer Instinct. A little too greedy, though. Catherine gonna live with one. I thought it was a little greedy, but I like the Gamba. But, you know, sometimes you lose on the Gamba. And unfortunately, that is going to be a pretty big hit there with only a few moments left for this Drake. This might be the opening the Belmonts need to try to get into this Dragon Soul position.
And yeah, we'll see for the moment here what the call is going to be, with Ornn still just now teleporting. He will commit to it here. Again, would love it to find a gap to try and get some of these crafts off before this fight. Volley Bear teleporting for the flank, though. We see Ornn. Who's that going to? Is that Orianna? It is going to get that masterwork on the Rabadons here. Should still have one more in our pocket if we can try and find time. And yeah, actually they do. They give it to Xayah Infinity Edge right there. Or Shockwave going to find two here. The Dragon secured by the Shyvana. Tactical Nuke can't find it, but he certainly tried. He's just going to get executed here. Coghren finds it, and Buckby maybe an aggro flash away. Beta, though, aggro flashing in. Shakes. If one more auto stuns him up, Call the Forge God coming in. He is dead for the books. Volley Bear down. And while it looked like these two were untouchable here, an error by Kaisa leads to the Dragon, leads to an error by Volibear. They both take a death here, and with top jungle dead, the Baron looks pretty free.
Hey, man, this is crazy. You tell me 2 minutes ago that Belmonts would be contesting for the Baron here and have lead onto Kaisa, I'd be like, no way. You know, but yet here we are right now. And that was a pretty blunder move there from the side of Atlantis. It wasn't really anything per se Belmonts did. They survived. I guess they survived long enough for that to happen, you know? But this still can be Atlantis' game, but they just now set it from easy to hard.
And yeah, we'll see it here. Another masterwork completed going to the Shyvana. Obviously at level 17, he'll get his last one for good old Vita mana there in the bot side. As we'll see for the moment here. Just gonna be grouping in the mid lane, right? We have 2 minutes on this Baron. We want to break this mid lane open and try and open that game up to be just a little bit more positive for us in terms of trying to control these pushes, maybe even get toward an inhib. But what comes out? I think Crow just killed himself, truthfully. Yeah, I don't know too much what we're looking for there. I guess he just wants CC under tower because he thinks it's good, but they have no problem killing him through that. He's 100%. Tanky, but he's not that tanky. He just has the bagpipes and the extra items, so gonna just get taken down here. And now you don't have a Nautilus, so it should be a lot easier to try and siege these if they want. Daisy gonna tank up for a little bit, but again, they don't really have anything to actually engage now, so inhib tower is just gonna get torn out.
This is kind of crazy, man. Just a simple mistake here is now leading to the inhib falling apart here for the side of Atlantis. That gold lead falling. Loops looking for a little something there. Shaky with the follow-up, but not going to be able to get too much here as they are going to retreat back. They are going to be able to spend that gold. They have about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left as Shakes is able to find the root, but is it going to be enough? As Shyvana finds the ult as well, too. Kerrigan on a rampage right now. The feathers are flying. Tactical Nuke is going to be the next one to fall. Crow finding the hook on the Buckeye, but I don't know if it's going to be enough as the Frostbite finds it. The shutdown on Orianna. That's going to be 3, though, for the side, as now Deadly on the run. Mana holding the door and pushing them back. Kerrigan looking for the solo bolo. Finds the Quadra, and that's going to be a wrap. Atlantis sinking in the last few moments, but you gotta give it to the one, the only family that punches Dracula in the face. The Belmonts taking it away 2-1.
And yeah, it's really nicely done, right? Again, they were in a really tough spot at a middle portion of that game, right? But they're able to punish those mistakes. And again, even if it is those mistakes being made by the other team, you have to be able to capitalize on it or it's not going to mean anything. So nicely done. They're able to punish a lot of those key mistakes, get those ornaments, get those powers, strengths before you need them in those fights. And at the end of the day, they're able to take the game. And again, goes to show why both of these teams were able to get 2-0s in week 1, right? Both very strong teams, very good players, especially considering the ranks that we're in the IBSGs. But at the end of the day, one of them had to take the series, and it will go down. They'll head up now 2-0 on the bracket with 4-1 game wins in their sake. As again, well played by both teams, but at the end of the day, only one can win.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna see some updates here from Atlantis. Oh, I feel for the ADC right now. They got to be punching the air right now. It's crazy. This is what I hate about League here, where you can do so much, right? And one simple mistake there, one little misclick, one little tower shot extra is what really made the difference there. Everything else, just so much work. What is that, about 20-30 minutes worth of work, all to just crumble there. Really unfortunate, but a very, very strong performance. Definitely put themselves on the map and made themselves a threat. When you see them now, you're going to be like, hey, you got to get rid of that Kaisa. You got to be careful with them. You're going to have to be a little happy with that. But with that being said, that is going to be it here. Belmont's going to be taking it 2-1 for week 2. They got to be feeling pretty good. With that, how is it for you there, Colonel?
Yeah, I mean, again, well played to them. I think that both of these teams will be getting definitely a couple more wins throughout their season for each themselves. Is obviously, again, very well played games. Obviously, a few things that I'm sure they'll look back on and say, maybe if we did this, we would have won in two.
Right.
Maybe if we did that, we would have won in two. But at the end of the day, it's the Belmonts who hold on, fight through some adversity in game 3, and they are able to hold on. But as you mentioned, that will be about it for us. Thank you, everybody, for joining here. Ember Esports Cinders Week 2. The Belmonts reign victorious, and they stay undefeated in their quest for the season trophy. I've been Colonel. That's been Huey. We've been here with